What's up, bitches? This is gonna be a long one, so get comfortable. I saw some of the streams and stuff and previews of the tutorial mode in this game. It's not bad, but it doesn't really go that in depth, so figure why not make a video, right? Well, first let me get this technical information off the screen. Go with something a little more basic. Oh, there we go. Joystick, 3 buttons. Simple, right? So there's 3 buttons. You already know this shit, but I'm gonna go through it. There's 3 buttons: guard, punch, kick. Guard used to guard attacks. Hit down and guard to guard low. Punch punches, kick kicks. Pretty simple, right? You can use all the different combinations of buttons to do different moves. Generally, there's a logic to which combinations go with each move. So like P plus K is usually like 2-handed attacks or like headbutts and body checks and shit like that. Kick plus guard is generally special kicks like spin kicks or whatever. I mean, there's exceptions, but you know, whatever. Just commands. And then punch and guard is how you throw. And you can do different commands with punch and guard to do different throws, and we'll get to that later. You can move around using a joystick. Now, if you hit straight down, you'll just crouch. But if you hit any other direction, well, I guess down forward and down back. Oh, there you go. It's like automatic. Wait, nope. Never mind. Yeah, so anyway, any direction but the down directions, you can walk around. And just take a walk around this way or that way. This is completely useless. It doesn't dodge anything. It's really slow. Well, there's one use. If you like mash in one of the corners, like up to up back or back to up back or something, you can make them look really funny. And you can do this after you win. It's kind of like a taunt. You can try different directions. And that looks weird. Oh wait, 1 second. It's not as funny as the other one. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's really stupid looking. So you can do that after you win. But that's about the only use of this. So this sucks. So anyway, you can dash. Forward, back. You can crouch dash, which is double down forward or double down back. By the way, if it seems like I transition to stuff kind of weird, it's because I have a list in front of me of everything I got to talk about, and it's kind of long. Anyway, so right, you can dash forward, back. This is, you know, a lot faster than walking, right? Down forward, or down back to crouch dash. You can also do a crouch dash by doing down forward, down forward. Oops, my shitty inputs. Down forward, down forward. So you can be in crouch and just do this, and you'll crouch dash. Isn't that a handy display? You can see exactly what I'm doing. Thanks, Sega. So you tap up or down to evade or sidestep. I think the proper term is evade. Shut the fuck up. So anyhow, you can tap up or down to evade, and there's different types of evades, and we'll get to that later. But anyway, up or down is evade. You use that to sidestep moves. During an evade, you can do a very limited number of things, and one of those things is you can hit all 3 buttons during the evade, and that'll make you do what's called offensive move. And this, you can use this to evade when you're at advantage, and we'll get to that later. But basic usage for it is you can use it to reposition yourself while your opponent is knocked down, because this evade's kind of slow. It's not really just for moving. So if you just want to move your character, you know, let's say my back's to the edge of the ring and I get a knockdown or something, you can do this a couple times and get to the other side. Some of the dashes can be guard canceled, and this is where a guard button comes in handy. You can use it for a lot of different things. And one thing is you can cancel your forward dash with a guard. It looks like it has a little bit of startup, but it doesn't. As soon as you hit guard, you can block. You can cancel your crouch dash with a guard. And I'll get into this later why this is useful. I mean, of course, it's useful because you want to block attacks, right? And some you can't guard cancel, like you backdash, you can't guard cancel it. You crouch backdash, can't guard cancel it. You can cancel the different movements into one another. And I'll get to the specifics later, but you know, you can evade and backdash, evade and forward dash. You know, like this. You can backdash evade. You can backdash evade over and over. You can backdash evade crouch, you know, whatever. You mix it up. If you play Tekken, it's kind of like that. The guard button has some other uses other than guarding. You can use it to jump, hit up. You have to tap up and guard. If you hold guard and hit up, it doesn't do anything. But if you tap up and guard or up forward or up back, you can jump. And there's jumping attacks. You can do like Soul Calibur 2, like the wall landing attacks, and you can do like mix-ups with them. We'll get to that later. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Yes, that's a mid. That's a low. It's pretty sweet. The empty jump grab. I think it's KOF. Some moves can be guard canceled. A lot of them are character specific, but most of the cast can guard cancel their kick. So this is kick. And you can hit guard to cancel it. It's good for feinting certain things. This is actually really useful. And I'll get to that later. Like many things, you know, everybody has, or most characters have, I think everybody does now. Everybody has a PK. I don't think everybody can do this, but you can do PK, G cancel too. But there you go. And the most useful thing that you can do with the guard button, other than guarding, is you can use it to clear your inputs. So, like strings in this game, you know, there's strings in this game. It's like PPPK. There's a basic string. Scrub stuff, right? You can delay 95% of the strings in this game a lot. Like, you can really, really, really delay them. So, you know, you see this string, you can delay all the hits. And the last one you can really delay. So, let's say I want to do 2 high punches in a row. So I just want to do high punch, high punch. Well, if I do that, I'm going to get the first 2 hits of my string. I don't want to do the first 2 hits. I just want to do the first hit twice. So you can just hit guard after you hit punch, and it cancels the input buffer. And you just get 2 high punches. Punch, guard, punch. And that brings me to the input buffer. This game, although people say it's has a lot of hard execution in it, kind of does. The inputs are actually really friendly. I'm not sure the exact frames because they've changed it over the years, but it's about a 10 frame input buffer. Which means if there's like a link in this game, the tightest link there can be in this game is 10 frames because you literally have 10 frames to hit the button during your recovery. So when you get punch guard punch, look how fast I'm doing that. Okay, you can't do it too fast, but you notice I'm hitting the second punch as my other punch is recovering, and it comes out frame 1 as soon as I'm recovering. So when you want to do something in this game, you can do it. And actually, hitting guard is a good habit in general. Like when you do a single attack, you know, tap guard after. I mean, your thumb is, or your index, or however you play, is usually always going to be on this button most of the time. So it's a good habit to hit guard. I mean, if I want to do like, so Kage has this P plus K move. I can do P plus K, right? I don't have to get guard in between because there's no P plus K string. But it's still a good habit to hit guard in general. And then, of course, the general system of VF is the rock, paper, scissors of attack, throw, block, right? Or attack, throw, guard. So generally, moves leave you at disadvantage when you block, so technically, guarding beats attacking, and throwing beats guarding. If someone is guarding, you can throw them, of course. But the thing that's different about this game from most games is it's very strict about the whole attacks beating throws thing. So, anytime you're doing an attack, anytime you're in the startup or hit frames of an attack, you cannot be thrown. Absolutely not. During any attack. Doesn't matter how slow it is. Kage has this move. This move has... Well, actually, that's not a good example because he jumps up in the air. Let's say this move. This is a slow-ass move, right? This is... How slow is this? This is like... It's like 20-something frames, right? It's really slow. Oops. Whoops. Okay. Okay, 24 frames. This is super slow. Okay? I can make the CPU guard a move. We'll throw after. a successful block. Yes, that's what I want. So he's going to block my move and then throw. So I'm going to do a move that's like kind of safe. I do this. And he can't throw me. Now, of course, there's situations where throw is guaranteed. But if you're recovered at all, you do any attack, that'll happen. You can do whatever you want. You can do this move. This move is super slow. You do this, they try to throw, you can do that. And of course, he can even guard in time because the move's so slow. But just to show you, you cannot be thrown out of attacks at all. So if someone's mashing like this, you can't throw them. You can only throw when someone is actually defensive. It's very by design. So like most 3D fighters, there's high, mid, and low attacks. And like most 3D fighters, you can block high and mid attacks standing, but low moves will connect. And if you crouch guard, high attacks will completely whiff, and you'll block low attacks, but you'll get hit by mid attacks. And like most 3D fighters, typically you want to block standing because mid attacks are way more threatening than low attacks. Especially in this game, low attacks. You see my low kick. Fast lows are generally disadvantaged on hit in this game. So you see in this situation I'm -6, which means my opponent can move 6 frames before I can. So if I do this and it hits and I try to low punch, which is generally the fastest attack, if my opponent gets hit by that and does their launcher, I'll get launched on counter hit. So generally you think of lows like it's kind of like free hits, but you don't get the advantage from it, so you can't keep your offense. Speaking of counter hits, let's cover that for a second. There's some other hit levels I want to talk about in a minute, but first I want to talk about this. So I'll just make the opponent go guard, and they'll do this attack. So my high punch gives me +2 on block. And generally, high punch is the one universal move that's advantage on block, so that's kind of where you start your offense in this game. So I do high punch, and he responds with elbow. So if I do high punch, I do my elbow, it wins on counter hit. And you see I get more advantage than normal hit. I get +8. When moves hit on counter, they do 150% damage. Sometimes you get like a stun or a launch or whatever, right? But additionally in this game, there's some rules. Special rules for counter hits. So I'll make the opponent do low punch after they block. So low punch is 12 frames, and it's generally everyone's fastest attack. Some characters have 11 frame standing punch, but it's not really important for this example. So standing punch is advantage, and he's going to do a low punch. And I'm going to do my high punch, and I'm going to do down forward punch, which is 14 frames. So if I have +2, and he does his 12 frame attack, and I do my 14 frame attack, there's a 2 frame difference, so they're going to connect on the same frame, right? So I do this, but I don't get hit. Because in Virtua Fighter, when 2 moves collide on the same frame, whichever move does the most damage will win. So this move does 17 points, 17 points. And low punch only does 9 points. So this wins. So whenever you have enough frames to force a certain move, like when your move will connect on the same frame as their low punch, your big move is always going to win. So the person with the advantage usually wins because you can do the bigger move. Also, so it's high, mid, and low attacks. There's also EX high, EX mid, and EX low in this game. And you might have noticed the EX low, so we'll start there. EX low is just a low move that can be blocked standing or crouching. So if someone does a low punch, all low punches are EX low. You can block that standing, and you can block that crouching. The only reason it's called a low move is that if you have like a counter, like Akira has a counter, I'll make him guard and do a low punch. So Akira he can counter low moves. I can counter his low punch, and I have to do my low counter to counter it because it's technically a low move. Also, low moves can be jumped over. So since this is technically a low move, you can jump over it. Then there's special EX mids. Sometimes people call it, EX low, call it special low or special mid, special high. see. I know Akira has a special, an EX mid somewhere. Oh, there we go. Okay, EX mid is the same exact thing, except, you know, it's classified as a mid attack, so you would... This is his down forward, kick plus guard. So you would counter it mid, and you can't jump over it because it's a mid attack. But, and the thing about special mid attacks is if you crouch guard them, you will take no damage, but you'll be stood up. And so this has a follow-up. So if you guard this low, the follow-up will hit you. Some mid attacks don't have, some special mid attacks, actually maybe they all have follow-ups, I'm not really sure. But you won't take any damage from the actual special mid, but if it has a follow-up, then that'll hit you. Generally. And because you'll be put in a stun. You just don't take any damage. And so you'll see if they, you know, they crouch guard that, I have -4. And if they stand guard it, oops. If they stand guard it, I have -6, so the frames change too. And then there's EX high, which, does Akira even have an EX high? I don't think he does. He might. Let's pick a different character, because I don't think he has an EX high attack. But Leon definitely does, so we'll pick him. Let's change the stage too while we're at it. VF3 Pi music, man. So Leon has a string, it's PKP. You see the last hit is EX high. So EX high means is, like all high attacks, you can crouch under it, just like any other high attack. But if you do something, any move, even if it's a crouching move during the active frames, you can still be counter hit by it. So you do a low kick or a low punch or some sweep that goes under stuff, you can still get hit by an EX high. So they're basically for counter hits. So I'll make them guard and do a low punch. Oops. Stand block. And he's probably gonna, yeah, he's gonna do it right after the punch. So I'll make the punch whip. So he blocks this kick. And if I do my pie punch, you know, even if I delay it, it's in a string, so I have enough advantage to, you know, force that. Tries to low punch out, and this hits. But if you would duck, he can just duck it and then stand back up and punish it with something like throw me or something like that. So that's EX highs. Okay. From crouch moves. Next on my list. So Leon's a good example of this. He has a move that's, here. Let's turn on the command display. So he has a move that's from crouch, down forward and punch. So if you've played Tekken, Tekken has like while rising moves where you crouch and then you let go, and then while you're standing up you hit a button. There's a couple characters that have moves like that, but for the most part in this game, it's from crouch moves. So you'll be in crouch and then you hit like a direction, usually down forward, and like, you know, punch plus kick or something like that. Like Leon has a from crouch punch plus kick, I think, or forward. Yeah, forward punch plus kick from crouch. So anyway, so he has this. It's down forward and punch from crouch. Well, you can actually. So earlier I said you can crouch dash with down forward, down forward. You can actually buffer the crouch dash and buffer the entire move. So let's say I do kick and I just want to buffer this from crouch move from there. So I do go in recovery, and then you don't have to actually go into crouch. And by the way, there's no reason to do this. I'm just showing the buffer. So I'm doing the kick, and as I recover, I just hit down forward, punch. So down forward is the crouch dash, and so it puts my character in a crouch state, even while they're in, well, it doesn't put them in a crouch state, but it buffers the crouch state, even in recovery. And then I just keep holding down forward, and I hit punch. So I can just do down forward, punch, and this move comes out, and you can buffer that during attacks. You can just do it. Standing kick, and then buffer it. This works for any crouching, any move that can be done from crouch. And then I suck, but that move has a lot of recovery. But yeah, anytime during the end of your animation, you can just buffer this. So he has a from crouch forward and punch plus kick. It's the same thing. You do down forward, then hit forward and punch and kick. And this is a little trickier. So there you go. You can also, you know, I said before, you can crouch dash with down forward, down forward. You can buffer these the same way. So you can kind of buffer it like that. Kind of like a like a half super motion if you play like a lot of 2D fighters. And that was a little tougher. See, there you go. And even, you know, Akira has a double palm that's from crouch back forward punch. I'll go ahead and might as well demonstrate that too, because this is actually used in some combos and stuff. So Akira has a move that's from crouch back forward punch, and you'll see how much I suck by just doing it by itself. Usually people, like, you know, easy mode, just buffer it from a low attack and just do back forward punch from like a low punch. But you can buffer this too, down forward, and then, you know, you get to see how much I suck. So you can buffer it. And since it's back forward punch, you can also buffer it. Remember I said you can do crouch dash like this. You can do kind of like a double corsical back sort of motion and just do double corsical back to forward. But you have to do the, you can't go to like back. You can't just do that. You have to do the down back so you get the crouch dash. So you can see you can buffer it that way. So down back, back forward, kind of like that. And it'll come out. And also a note, whenever you buffer a move from crouch, or you buffer a crouching move, it adds 1 frame. So this move is, well, I think this move is like 13 frames or something. Yeah. So if you would do like high punch double palm, which and you buffer it perfectly, which I probably can't do, but if you do it like right away, it's effectively a 14 frame move. Just to note. Yeah, so if you have some kind of counter hit setup that uses a crouching move that you buffer from standing, and it's not beating a move you think it should beat, that's probably why. So Leon's from crouch forward PK is 16 frames, and Jean's throwing an elbow, that's 14, and this gives me +2. So if I do this into that move, it should beat it, right? Because 16 and 14 is a 2 frame difference. So this should win, but it won't win because it's, oops. Even if you buffer it perfectly, see, it's just not gonna win because it's actually coming out at 17 frames. Because that crouch dash adds 1 frame, so just be aware of that. Okay, well, let's talk about throws a little bit. All right, one last thing about counter hit before I move on here that I forgot. Let's see, go to record. Okay, so there's also a counter hit state called minor counter, and minor counter means you're hitting someone in the recovery of a move. So if you go into training mode, so you see when you're in training mode and you see this yellow flash, and you see on the left it says counter, right? And it's a yellow spark behind it. That means a normal counter hit, which means you're interrupting the startup of someone's move. But if you see a blue counter, that means you're hitting them in the recovery. So if I do an elbow, I'm minus, right? And he does a high punch and I do a low punch, which, you know, my low punch beats it because it's a crouching attack and goes under it. But it doesn't come out, you know, it hits later than his high punch is hitting because I'm at minus. But I'm hitting him during his recovery, so that's a blue counter. Well, there's some moves that also have special states on minor counter as well as full counter hit. So Jackie has this punch string, down forward PPP, and you can see on the life bar and on the hit counter, the last hit does not combo, but it combos on counter hit, and it also combos on minor counter. So if Jean does a move like his knee that I just recorded, so I'll play this back. His knee is minus 15, and this move is 14 frames. So if I guard this and do that, it will guarantee the whole series. So just be aware that there are certain moves that most moves do not have a minor counter property that's different from normal hit. And also a minor counter is 125% damage instead of 150. But just be aware, and there's a lot more strings these days than there used to be in like the older VFs. So you know, whatever character you play, check out their strings and stuff, and see if they don't have, you know, a string that's only guaranteed on counter hit that's also guaranteed on minor counter. You can maybe use as a punisher or whatnot. You know, you sidestep something big, you can get it guaranteed, you know, etc. There's a lot of like low kick strings that are only guaranteed on counter hit, and maybe you can like backdash and like whiff punish a low punch and get it on minor counter, and it'll be guaranteed. So let's test out stuff, and you might find something. Let's talk about throws a little bit. That's why I picked Wolf. Yeah, so he's a throw-based character, so I can show you all the throw stuff. No, we should do command display for now. So you throw with punch and guard, right? Throws are 10 frame startup, so technically they're the fastest thing in the game for punishing. So you have something that's -10, you have a guaranteed throw attempt. Of course, you can always break throws, and you break throws by hitting the direction the throw is plus punch and guard. And throws can be either neutral, forward, or back. So you have punch and guard, so you would escape that with just punch and guard. And you have forward punch and guard, which you escape with forward punch and guard. So you would push towards Wolf. So basically the opposite direction. The two-player would hit, you know, back, you know, this direction, because they're on the opposite side, of course. And then, you know, back punch and guard, escape with back punch and guard. Simple, right? And also they added in the last game, while you're guarding, you can also hold punch, and you'll still be guarding, nothing comes out, and you can just hold this, and you'll break whatever throw you guess. And by the way, you can only guess one throw ever in this game. You can only break one. You have to pick neutral, forward, or back. And typically, every character has best throw, most damaging throw that they want. So typically, you escape that, and take away that option, they have to use less damaging throws. So I can just hit, you know, forward punch and guard, and if he throws me with forward punch and guard, I'll escape it. Same thing with back, same thing with neutral. You can just stand here and escape it. Throws are technically escapable on reaction, but you have to be very fast. So, and you also cannot see the arms like in Tekken. It's a complete guess. So you just break throws based on what you think the opponent wants. So yeah, every character has neutral, forward, or back, and punch and guard. Of course, every character has special throws for forward or back. So this is Wolf's back punch and guard, and this is half circle back punch and guard, which does more damage, but it's still a back throw, so you would still just escape it with back. You just escape whatever the last direction of the throw command is. So, just to demonstrate, have Wolf do punch back and punch half circle. Oops, I suck. Punch half circle back, and then he also has a 270 back, which is up to forward and then down all the way to back, or down to forward to up to back. And that's also a back throw, and that's the most damaging back throw. But no matter which one he does, so I can put this on play random, and he'll do one of the three: hold, punch, and guard, and just hold back, and I will escape all three of these throws. So they're all back throws, and typically, you know, the throws with the most complicated motions will do the most damage. Yeah, so now Wolf has a 274 throw, Burning Hammer, that does 100 points, and that's a lot. So against Wolf, typically you'd want to, you know, if you're just standing here and guarding and you're using this technique, you just want to break forward because you don't want to get thrown by that, you know. So he can throw you with the back one. That still does a lot, but, you know, it's not 100 points. You know, he's a throw-based character, so his throws, you know, do a lot more than the average character. And actually, this Burning Hammer, this is actually an exception. This throw is 14 frames instead of 10. So it's a little weaker versus Fuzzy Guard, which I'll get to later. But anyway, that's the basic of throws. You know, forward, back, or neutral break. You can just hold it and guard. You know, if they sit here and they're doing, let's see, just record this so he can do, you know, high and mid attacks, whatever, and then he grabs. Okay. So if I'm just sitting here holding punch and guard, he can do whatever he wants, high and mid, and then I'll break the throw too. So it's you know, relatively safe. And then there's low throws, and not everyone has low throws. I think Wolf, Jeffrey, Aoi, Go, Pi, Taka, L-Blaze, I think all have low throws. I think that's everyone. Anyway, so low throws are done with the same as standing throws are neutral, forward, or back. Low throws are down, forward, or down, back, punch, and guard. So and typically, you know, the down forward or the down back is going to be your character's best. So there's his down punch and guard. And he has a down forward grab. I think that's his most damage. Boom. It's like 80 or something. And you can do the same thing in crouch. If you're crouching, you're holding punch and guard. You can hold down back or down forward, and you can be guessing a low throw as well if you want to crouch block. So the same idea. So if I have the computer, just hold down, punch and guard. I play that back. I try to run up and grab. He'll escape it. So same thing. Last thing, catch throws. So catch throws only belong to the grappler type characters. Actually, who else has catch throws? I think Blaze has a catch throw. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So anyway, catch throws. Wolf has a couple. He has a forward punch and guard. And he has up forward punch and guard. And these are not escapable. They have a lot more startup than normal throws. So you can avoid them in situations you wouldn't normally be able to avoid normal throws, which I'll get to later. But so if you think your opponent's going to evade and they're psychic and they're guessing the right throw every time, you know, you try to throw them with forward and they break it, and then you try to throw them with back and they break that, and you can just use one of these if they commit to some situation where they can be thrown, and you can just throw them for free. They can't escape. He also has a back forward punch and guard. That's also not escapable, but has follow-ups which are escapable. Anyway, so that's pretty much it about throws. Let's talk about side steps. All right, so evades. So you tap up or down to evade, right? And this is how you sidestep moves. Okay, so if you just tap up or down and the opponent does nothing, or they do something you can't sidestep, this is what you get. This is called a failed evade. And a failed evade, it has no evasive properties whatsoever. It just moves your character. And the entire animation of this, the opponent can hit this with whatever they want. Doesn't matter if you can sidestep the move or not. If you go into this, they can hit you. And you can see how much the recovery is before I can block. So basically the way evades work in this game is the game checks to see if the opponent is doing an attack when you tap up or down. And if they're not doing an attack, this is what you get. You can cancel a failed evade with a few things. You can cancel into you can dash in any direction. You can crouch dash or normal dash. So see, I can tap up and then dash, and you can cancel dashing or crouch dashing forward into guarding. So you can see how long the recovery usually is. But if I dash cancel it and block, oops, I suck. Then I can guard sooner. So, you know, you can protect yourself, you know, because since this entire startup is hittable, they might, you know, they could hit you with something. They could launch you if they want. So if you do this, you're typically, you know, out in an open situation, you're protected from like slower things like launchers and stuff. In case you would like, basically, I would call this whiffing an evade. Okay, so you evade against nothing. And you can also cancel your failed evade with this, which for defensive reasons is useless, and I'll get to that in a second. This is used for other stuff. Anyway, so like I was saying, the way sidesteps work in this game is you tap up or down, and if your opponent is in the startup of a move, when you do that, you'll get a successful evade. So I'll do my elbow, which is -5, and Jean responds with his elbow. I just tap up or down during my recovery, and I'll evade it, and this is called a successful evade. You'll know you got it. Your character will make a noise, and your evade will be faster, and you'll have, you know, a lot better recovery, and you'll have advantage. Typically, if you sidestep anything other than like high punch, you'll have advantage if you sidestep it. And so this is -5 on block, right? And Jean's attacking right away. So if you know, I'm minus. If he's attacking right away, that means during my recovery, his attack's already coming out. So I can just buffer up or down. and it'll just evade his move, right? Because during the last 5 frames of my recovery, that's the first 5 frames of his moves coming out. And you can't cancel a successful evade with anything other than all 3 buttons, which is called offensive move. And it actually has no evasive properties whatsoever in this game. So see, I'm hitting up in all 3 buttons, and I'm just getting hit. You can sidestep the move and then do it, but it's for other things, which I'll get to later. All right, so most of the attacks in this game you can evade in either direction. Doesn't matter. You know, all the basic moves usually you sidestep either way. Doesn't matter. But some moves can't be sidestepped, and some moves can only be sidestepped in one direction. Let's do full circular first. So Jaggy has back forward kick plus guard, and you see when you do this move, there's an icon behind him that's 2 arrows going in a circle. That means you cannot sidestep it. So if I record Jean, he does an elbow, sidestep, guard, and it hits him. And if he would sidestep the other way, the same thing would happen. Just hits, and it hits on counter hit, which I'll get to in a minute. So yeah, so those types of moves, if you see that icon, you can't sidestep in either direction. And some moves can only be sidestepped in one direction. Jacky's, yeah, his standing kick is half circular. And I think most standing kicks are half circular. So you see the up arrow, and that tells you the direction you can sidestep it in. So in this situation, you see it's, you know, it swings from the side, so you would sidestep it to Jacky's back. So just to demonstrate, Sean sidesteps up, and he sidesteps it. But if he would sidestep the other direction, it would hit him. Boom, and it hits on counter hit. But also, there's a thing in this game which I'll get into later, but there's, well, some people refer to it as a stance, but it's kind of confusing because people also have stances they can go into. I'll call it foot position. So right now, Jackie is left foot forward, and he has a special command. It's all 3 buttons. He can switch to right foot forward. And every character in the game can be in one of these 2 positions. And so he has this half circular move, right? This kick. Well, if I do this, well, now it comes out the other way, and now you have to sidestep down. So usually in Virtua Fighter, when you say which direction a move is sidesteppable in, you just say front or back. So this would be sidesteppable to his back. So you can see, because you see his front right now, right? And now you see his back. So you would sidestep that towards his back, and then you change, and now you see his back, so you would sidestep toward the screen, and that's correct. So, you know, in Tekken, you say clockwise or counterclockwise. In this game, it's just front or back. But you have to pay attention. You know, if you want to sidestep specific moves, you have to pay attention to the foot position. And a lot of moves will change your foot position. Like Jackie's back and punch, you see? It turns him every time. And every character has moves like these, so it becomes kind of complicated to sidestep half circular moves. And, you know, a lot to pay attention to, I know. Before I move on, let's talk about these counter hits. So you notice when Jean sidestepped into this move, he got counter hit. Whenever a half circular or full circular move hits an evade in the direction it tracks, you'll get a counter hit. So if a full circular move hits an evade, it'll get a counter hit. If a half circular move hits an evade in the direction you can't evade it, it'll also get a counter hit. Now, like I was saying before, sidesteps, failed evades are completely vulnerable, right? So Jean does this and he does a sidestep, right? Oops, no. So I play this back, and if I wait for it to sidestep, I can just hit him, right? And this is called delay attack, and I'll get to this later, but this is a way you can beat evade. You can delay your attack. Now, let's say I delayed my kick and I hit him. It's not a counter hit because it doesn't track in that direction. I'm just hitting his evade normally. Now, if he would evade the other way, even if I'm delaying my attack, even if I'm delaying my attack, it gets a counter hit. So if you hit with a move, you know, you hit a sidestep with a move, and you hit it, you know, on the side that it tracks. So the concept is you're using it for its intended use. you'll get a counter hit with that. So it's a little, you know, it's a little bonus for using like half circular moves to hit evades in the proper direction. All right, so we already talked about how you can use half circular and full circular moves to beat evade. Throw also beats evade 100%, so you can use that. Of course, they can always escape it during the evade. We'll get to that later. Let's talk about delay attack a little bit. Delay attack is not as important in this game as it used to be, just because failed evades don't have as long of a whiff animation, and you can guard cancel them a lot faster than you used to. But, you know, like I was saying, failed evade, you can be hit anytime during it, so you can take advantage of this. So I'll record this. First I'll record this. So Jean does PK, and then he does launcher, right? And I get hit by the PK, and it gives him +4. And then I evade his launcher, right? Let's see, it does PK, and then a slight delay, and then launches. So now I get launched, because he's using that time where I'm doing my evade, and he's not doing anything. He's just letting go of his advantage, but then waiting for my evade, and then just hitting me out of it before I can guard. Which is why, before I was saying you can, you know, dash cancel your evade. Even if I do a fatal evade, I can block his launcher in time. So you can avoid being hit by really slow stuff during your evade if you guard cancel. But when you know dash guard cancel, you're also adding inputs, and it makes it harder to do throw escapes during the evade, and then they can go back to just throwing you, etc. I'll get to all that later. Last thing for evade. There's offensive evade, which is sidestep and all 3 buttons. You can do this. You can actually do this during successful evade too, but like I was showing before, it's kind of a bad idea. This actually used to have evasive properties. It does not anymore. Its use has completely changed. Yeah, it's on guard. So, well, it really doesn't matter. What you use it for is if you do an offensive evade and then immediately buffer attack from it, you get a side turn situation. So I'm doing, you know, offensive evade, immediately punch, and you see on the above the stats there, it says side. And we'll get the side guard a bit later because it gets a little complicated. But just know that this is basically used for if your opponent is completely freezing up. Instead of maybe risking a throw, I mean it's still risky to go for this too, but you can maybe you have a bad ring position and you know they're gonna guard. You can do this, and then you also get more advantage for the side turn situation, which gives you better mix-up game. I'll get to that later. So before we get into all the in-depth guessing games and option selects and stuff, let's talk about knockdowns for a little bit, because over the course of a match, you're going to get knocked down, you're going to knock other people down. Then you should know your options. Let's see. Actually, no, you know what? Let's do it this way. So have Jean knock me in the air. So the first thing you want to learn is how to tech roll or quick rise. So when you're knocked into the air, you can just hit all 3 buttons to quick rise. So you're not knocked down at all. You're never in a knockdown state. You can't be hit on the ground, and you get up right away and you avoid additional damage. And if you hold up or down when you do this, you'll roll to the side. Either side you want. And usually, actually 99% of the time, you want to do this. You want to roll to one side. I mean, usually you're always going to, you know, if you're getting knocked down, you're probably not in the best ring position you can be in, and there's probably a direction you would like to go in, so you want to go up and down. And there's some other reasons you want to do this too, which I'll get to in a minute. So when you tech roll, you cannot be hit out of this. You're completely invulnerable during this roll until you get up. But you have no additional options. You just roll and then you stand right back up. You can also delay this quick rise a little bit after you hit the ground, and there are some things that might scrape the ground that you can be hit by if you don't time your roll exactly right. But you can time it pretty early, so it's pretty easy to avoid that kind of stuff. Also, the difference between getting up in place and rolling to the side. When you get up in place, if you notice, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna hold down to crouch. And you notice I stand up before I crouch, right? I stand up I'm holding down and guard. I stand up before I crouch. So when you do this, you're forced to stand up, and for reasons I'll get to in the next section, that's bad, and it leaves you susceptible to throws. So you always want to roll to the side, because when you roll to the side, you recover crouching. Notice I go right into a crouching animation if I hold down and guard after I tech roll. So that's much, much better, and in addition to getting better ring position. So you pretty much always want to do this. Also, there's some moves that spin you. I think you can maybe do this. Yeah, this might work. So if you get hit by this, and you get up in place, and you block right away, and actually, I don't know. There we go. See, I guarded that from the side. When you get up in the attack spun me around, and when I got up in place, I was facing the same way. This is another reason you really almost never want to get up in place, because stuff that you keep your like orientation when you get up when you do this. But if I roll to the side, it realigns myself. Well, he didn't attack me right away, but you get the point. There used to be something called backstaggers in this game, and you could like, or in the older games, you could tech roll when you were facing certain directions, and you could get hit in the back, and that's not there anymore. So you always want to roll to the side pretty much if you're going to tech roll. Okay, so what if you don't tech roll, right? So when you don't tech roll, character hits the ground, and unlike Tekken, you're forced to stand up after a certain amount of time, and that's about how long it is. You can tap guard or hit the buttons to kind of get up quicker. Now, right after the character hits the ground, you can hit them with any kind of like low move. See if I can find a low move. Okay, there's any attack that scrapes the ground can hit your opponent. So there we go. See, I can hit him with a low kick. I can hit him with a couple. And as you keep hitting them, they'll bounce lower and lower, and depending on what kind of combo you did, they'll also bounce lower. So if you do a long combo, you probably can only get like one of these, but they can just tech roll right out of that. Now, if you wait until they actually go fully grounded, then they become invulnerable, and they're completely invulnerable until they stand up. So once you're past that point, the only thing that's going to hit the opponent are dedicated down attacks. Everybody has two dedicated down attacks that are universal. One is either down forward and punch or kick. It's different for every character. For Jeff, it's kick, and he does this little stomp. And for most characters, the big one is up and punch. And some characters have special ones, like I think Jeff has up, kick, and guard. Does this big butt flop. Some characters have like Wolf has like a lot of these. He has like down forward punch and kick. Does like the people's elbow, and then he does up and kick, and he does like a butt slam. So this is Jeffrey's special one. It's up, kick, and guard. And not everybody has a special down attack. It's kind of rare. So that you can use to hit them if they stay on the ground. You can actually react to this, because when you go for these kind of things, you're just guessing that they're not going to tech roll. But there are some some combos you could hit them with to get a lot of additional damage. Like Jeffrey can maybe do that. If you think they're not going to tech roll, stuff like that. It's kind of specific. You basically have to call them out. But in this situation, you see they don't tech roll, and you can stomp on them. Now, once you're knocked down, like I said, you're invincible until you get up. So you can hit guard and stand up, and you can roll them in different directions. You hit up and guard to roll up, down and guard to roll down, or back and guard to roll back. And then you can also do wake up attacks when you're knocked down. The universal wake up attack is either kick or down and kick. And kick will do a full circular mid attack. Actually, is that full circular? Did they change it? Or maybe it doesn't have, because I don't have the hit display on. Yeah, I don't have the hit display on. Let's turn on the hit display. There's no way they changed that. It wouldn't make any sense, right? Okay. So this is full circular, and then you can also do a low kick. That's also for full circular. And let's record this again and make them block for a long time. And you can see these get up kicks. It's -6 on block, and I think it's -6 on block for the low one as well. Yeah. Now there used to be able to get up and then delay your kick, and you would be at a greater frame disadvantage. Those are gone now. But you can still, if you get knocked down and you roll, you can also roll to one side and then do a get up kick. Or you can roll back, or whatever side you want. And those have the same stats as the normal ones. -6 on block no matter what, and full circular, at least from this position. Now, your wake up position will affect what kind of wake up attacks you have. So the normal knockdown position where you're just, actually, let's just knock down John and do it. This is easier. Rising attacks, mid attack. So if you just knock someone down normally, which is this position is well, pausing the pause game. This is face up, feet toward, so he's just on his back, kind of facing me. Everybody has these standard ones, these standard mid attacks, and they're full circular. If you knock someone down in some other positions, you'll get different wake up attacks. The face down, head towards is the same, mostly the same ones. Still -6 on block, still full circular. Let's see, what kind of attacks would knock them down differently? So in some knockdown positions, you have different rising attacks. For example, this is face up, head toward, and you see John does a wake up kick, and it's only half circular. It's still -6 on block, but it's not the standard full circular, wake up kick that you usually see. So your wake up position can also change, what kind of attacks you have. And then let's see, from that position, what if he does a low attack? Okay, that's still for full circular, see? So it just depends on the position, the wake up attacks you get. And those two he just did are actually universal. And everybody has that unless they have a unique rising attack that overlaps it. And a few characters do have unique rising attacks. So, let's see. What crumple move? I think that crumple's on counter hit. Let's do that. So I'm gonna get crumpled, and I'll be face down, head toward with Jeffrey. And from this position, if you do wake up kick, he has these stupid looking headbutts, and they're still done with the kick button. You always use the kick button to do wake up attacks, but he does these headbutts. So there's the low one, and there's the standing one. And you can see there's no icon, so they're both linear, and these are unique to Jeffrey. No one else has these. And various characters have some wake up attacks from certain positions that you can do, and you just have to find them on your own. But yeah, the universal ones, face up, feet toward, is the most common knockdown position, and from there you have the full circular. And then if you're kind of facing away, like either face down, head away, or face up, head toward, then you'll get the half circular, unless your character has some unique rising attacks. Also, so let's go back to the properties of these rising attacks. Let's see, is it on? Yeah, I need mid. Okay, so like I was saying before, as someone's getting up, they get knocked down. Once they're in that ground state, you can hit them with down attacks, and of course you can roll to the side, or you can roll and get up and guard. And you can guard the big pounces or or avoid the down attacks. You only put them on guard. I can go for my oops. Let's try something that has a longer knockdown. So I can go for my down attack, which you can only do these if the opponent is actually in a knockdown state. So it's like I can go for it. He can knock me out of them. You can roll out of them. You can get up and guard them if they're still active when you get up. If the opponent rolls to the side, you can avoid side roll. Yeah, that's good. No get up attack. So if I knock him down, if I go for my stomp, or actually it doesn't even come out because he goes into a roll so early. I can do this one. I go for the stomp, and it hits his roll. If he rolled a little earlier, he could avoid it. And some down attacks, you have to roll a certain way to avoid them, or or just get up faster. Like you can hold guard and well, usually when you mash in this game, you hold guard and mash all the buttons. When you're getting up, you should spin the stick around and mash all the buttons, and then tap the direction guard you want to get up faster. So you see in the rising speed, you can get it, you can make him get up faster. So if he gets up faster here, he might actually avoid this down attack. Yeah, so I can't even do it because he's not in a knockdown state. So anyway, say normal. Okay, so like I was saying, when you get knocked down and you go into that down state where all you can do is like down attacks, they're completely invulnerable to everything else. And then you can do their rising kick, and the rising kick is also completely invulnerable until it starts hitting. So if I go like this and he gets up and he does his mid rising attack, which he doesn't do because I didn't turn it on, so I'm gonna turn it on and then he's gonna do it. So when I walk up and I try to do something and I just get counter hit, or my move just whiffs right through him. So these are completely invulnerable until they hit. But remember what I was saying before, or actually before I go into that, of course, so when you get someone knocked down, what you can do is, instead of just trying to walk up and try to block the rising attack, you can stay at kind of this range. And then if they whiff a rising attack, you can just, or if you think they're going to rising attack, you can backdash to make it whiff and then punish it. That's a very, very common strategy. Also, if you think they're going to do a low rising attack, you can do like you can jump over it. You can jump over and do like this. Jeffrey can do this and then do some kind of combo off of it. I don't know what his combo is, but you can do some stuff, whatever. So anything that jumps over lows, you can go over the low one. Of course, you're not going to go over the mid one. So that's why backing up and trying to make it whiff is better. And then if they see you do that, then maybe they don't do a rising attack, and then you go back in as they're standing up and you do your mix-up game. But what you can also do is, remember I was saying before, if two moves trade, the move that does more damage will win. So the kicks become, they lose their invulnerability as soon as they start hitting. So you can trade with them. Let's see how much damage his kick does. It does, who knows? I'll have him, because I'm pretty sure all the rising attacks do universal damage for the ones that are shared. So it's 20 damage. So ideally, if I do a move that's 21 damage or more, I should be able to trade. There we go. Look at this stupid looking move. This might be hard to trade with it. But if I do this move and I time it just right, I can hit his rising attack. It's going to be kind of tough because there we go. So you can hit him. And the full circular ones actually have a lot of hit frames. And of course, if you use a move that has a lot of hit frames, it makes it even easier. So Jeffrey has like this move, this slow ass thing. This has a lot of hit frames. Like you just saw, look, that gives me plus 14 right there at this distance. Let's see. That's plus 15. If I do it right up, that's plus 13. So even when they're standing there, it has, some variance in when it can hit. So you can do that, and look, I get plus 17. So if you think they're gonna rising attack, oh wow, plus 21. So I can, if I have at least like plus 17, I can launch them. And Jeffrey has some setups for this in case someone matches rising attack. And also the speed of rising attacks is more predictable. And that's a lot of damage. It's more predictable because you can't delay your rising attack anymore either. So common setup is you do this, and then you go for this, and if like they side roll, this axe kick will hit. And if they don't do a rising attack, they have to block it, and it's plus on block. So there's various setups like that. You can look for certain moves like I think it's Shun's back kick and guard, where he like steps back and puts his foot out and hops on one foot. That move has like a million active frames. It's really easy to counter hit rising attacks with it. So that's one thing you can do that's super duper blow up rising attacks if you have good timing or when they're going to do their rising attack. Here, let me look at my list here. Oh, I forgot to mention. So when you tech roll, this is kind of hard to demonstrate, but I'll try to demonstrate it. Let's see if I can record this right. When you tech roll, no matter which direction you tech roll in, that was too early. If the opponent attacks you right as you get up, like your first few standing frames, basically like a meaty, like in a 2D fighter, you actually can't sidestep it, even if, whether you get up in place or you tech roll. So it's kind of hard to time, and so it's not something you should really worry about a lot. I mean, I wouldn't be really afraid to evade after a tech roll, but just be aware that this is there. And see, that was too late. It's kind of hard to demonstrate, but trust me, it's there. So that looks pretty accurate. Yeah, so I just tried to hit up to evade right there, and it just, you can't evade. And if you try to evade, you'll just get hit on, well, actually, I think that's a crouch hit. That gives him +8. So that's bad news, crouch hit. And if I get up, let's see if I get up straight. Oh, it's going to be different timing. Oh, so we learned something. So, hey, if you get up straight and they do this and you try to evade, you'll get hit on normal hit. But if you roll to the side and try to evade, they'll hit you in a crouching state. So there you go. So that's the risk difference of rolling to the side. But that's a very specific situation, and it's hard to do like a meaty attack unless you have a specific setup. Of course, good players will probably have a lot of specific setups. So just be aware that you cannot evade on like I don't know if it's just one frame or multiple frames, but right as you get up, if they attack you, you cannot evade the attack. Oh yeah, ground throws. So some characters have ground throws, and you can use these like the pounces or the down attacks. And every character with ground throws, I think it's just Wolf and Jeffrey, Aoi, and Go, I think, that have ground throws. So ground throws are always when your opponent's on the ground, either down P plus G or down 4 P plus G. And I'll just, that's easy to visualize, but I'll turn this thing on. And if you call someone out on laying on the ground, you have to pretty much guess that they're gonna stay on the ground. But there are things that guarantee a ground throw attempt. So it's either down PNG or down 4 PNG. And for Jeff and Wolf, their down and down forward are different. Down always does a pick up and throw command, which they sometimes get a mix up or guaranteed damage off of. And the down forward just does a generic damaging throw. And for Aoi and Go, they both do the throw. But in either situation, it's a 50-50. So your opponent either has to guess down or down forward for the throw escape for the ground throw. So this is his down forward ground throw. That actually does damage, and this one just picks them up. And there's different ground throws for different knockdown situations. So in this one, his pick up and throw just gives you some frame advantage. But if Jean was knocked down in this other way that I demonstrated earlier, oh, it's the same. Let's try this. Yeah, so now he picks up and he throws you back turn. He actually can get guaranteed stuff off that, especially if you go into a wall. So we'll get into that later and all the back turn, side turn stuff. But anyway, so yeah, anytime a character has ground throws and they get a guaranteed ground throw attempt on you, you just have to guess down or down forward, punch and guard. And just like all the other throw escapes, you can hold it if you want, but it's not hard to time. You can usually, it's in a situation where they can go for it and you can just break. Let's see. Oh, right. So when you get up, it's a good thing I have this list here. I would just forget everything. Kind of knock me down again. So when you get up, remember I was saying that getting up in place kind of sucks because you get up into a standing position. Well, when you get knocked down normally and you just stand up, you notice you also get up into a standing position. And right there I didn't. Well, if you just, when you tap guard to get up and then you hold down and guard, you can get up in a crouching state, which you almost always want to do, because getting up standing, which I'll get into more in depth in a minute, but it leaves you susceptible to throw setups. So you never want to do this, because you never want to just stand up and wait for yourself to get up, because then see, I try to hit down and guard and I have to wait to crouch. So you can choose to get up in the crouch, and usually you always want to choose to get up in the crouch so that you can fuzzy guard. And I'll get into fuzzy guard in a minute. You've probably seen tutorial videos on that, but there's a little more you can do with it, and I'll get into that. What is next? I think that's all of the down attacks. Oh, you know what? I'll cover slam moves. So you probably know about bounce moves. So there's let's just talk about this for just a second, so I can differentiate between the two. So there's like big bounce moves, like this that restand you, right? And then there's the smaller bounce moves that just do a normal bounce that look like this, look like a little, like kind of a little flop. So there's the, oops. So there's the big one, restand. And there's a small one. Well, there's also moves that just slam you, like Jeffrey's down P and K. See, it's just a little slam. Okay. And you can go up and you can, well, you can't even get a ground throw, but you can't hit them with much after it. Some that have good recovery, you can hit them after. Well, these are actually tech rollable, unlike the actual bounce moves. So it's good to know the difference between the two. If you say fall recovery in place, whatever, and I try to do this down P plus K after the juggle, you can just get up right out of that. There's no specific timing required. You can tech roll to the side too. So yeah, this just kind of pertains to knockdowns. You can tech roll out of this. So these bounce move, those, you know, this guaranteed, this not. So anytime you see a move that just slams them down and they don't go into a bounce, that you can just tech roll that. Just so you know, they used to not be tech rollable a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. All right, so now to the fun stuff. So Virtua Fighter has part of the system that's different from, well, pretty much any other game, any other 3D fighter. In most 3D fighters, when you're standing and let's say you're guarding or you're holding back or whatever, and you go to crouch, there's an animation for you to go into crouch. But this animation is just there, you know, for visuals, and it doesn't actually mean anything. If your opponent does a low move and you see it come out and then you hit down on the very last frame to guard it, you'll guard it, and you'll guard it in this game. But this animation from standing to crouching, and also from crouching to standing, we'll get to that in a minute, this animation is actually throwable, which means in some situations or some timings, you can be standing and guarding and you hit down to duck under a throw, and you can't duck under it even if the throw hasn't fully come out yet. So this animation from standing to crouching takes 7 frames. Now again, that doesn't mean that it takes 7 frames for you to go into a low guard. Low guard is instant. But for you to crouch under a throw, as soon as you hit down, you're still vulnerable to throws for 7 frames. And crouch dash enters crouch at 5 frames. So it's 2 frames faster. So what does this mean? Well, this means that in the normal course of a match, or actually, yeah, we need the frame data. Over the normal course of a match, since throws are 10 frames and it takes 7 frames to crouch. So if you're at -3 and you try to crouch, you can crouch a throw. Okay? So do I have a move that's -3? -3 on block. Let's try to find a move that's -3 on block. This will be an adventure, right? -3 on block. That's -2. That's good enough. -2. Okay, so you're -2. And the CPU is gonna block this and throw me. So I do this and I hold down a guard and I duck it, right? So up to -3, you can just hold down and guard and you can crouch a throw. Once you're at -4 or 5, you can still crouch under a throw, but you have to crouch dash to do it. Because once you're past -3, you know, it takes that 7 frames and throws are 10 frames. So if you're at -4, let's see if I can find, well, this move's -5, that's good enough. So I do this at -5 and I try to crouch and guard. And you'll just have to trust me that I'm holding it because the controls aren't on the screen. But I do this and crouch and guard and I can't duck his throw. So -4 or -5, you can only crouch dash to avoid throws. Okay? And in -5, you have to do it immediately. It's kind of hard to buffer. Okay? But you can do it. And then, at -6 or more, you can't duck throws at all. You crouch dash, whatever, it doesn't matter. you can't go into a crouch fast enough to duck a throw attempt. So how do you deal with this? So first of all, let's go back to that -1 to -3 situation. So the most common situation you're going to be in Virtua Fighter that's that situation, that -3 to -1 to -3 situation, is when you get a high punch block, and that's +2 on block. This is going to happen a lot because, you know, the main offense of this game is a lot of this, you know. So this and this is a common, you know, that's a common mix-up, is punch elbow or punch grab. So I'm going to record that. Punch grab and punch elbow. Okay? So Lau's going to sit here and he's going to mix up punch grab, punch elbow. And what you can do is something called fuzzy guard. And fuzzy guard is absolutely the most important defensive technique to learn in Virtua Fighter to become good at it. It is absolutely essential. So if you need something to practice in training mode, this is what you should practice. Set up the dummy, make them do high punch, throw, and then on another record, do high punch, forward punch, or high punch, whatever your 14 frame mid attack is. Because everybody has some 14 frame middle attack. So what you can do is when you're in this situation, let's say you guard a high punch, since you're able to duck a throw, what you can do is, since the throw is 10 frames, and it's very fast, and the elbow is 14 frames, it's a little slower, what you can do is you can guard the high punch and then duck and stand up. And so you'll avoid the throw, and you'll stand up in time to guard the mid attack. And so let's just show you real quick. So I'm going to guard this high punch, and I'm duck and stand up, and I sub. And so no matter what he does between these two options, I can avoid them. Okay, so this is crucial, because almost all basic offense starts with high punch, and the most basic mix-up is elbow or high punch. And you only have to tap down for a second to avoid that throw, because once you tap down, you're going into your crouch animation. And so as soon as you go into that, you avoid the throw as long as you have the frames to do it, which you do in this situation. Okay, so that's where you start. Practice that. That is so important. Now, so let's say in another situation, you're at more than -3. Let's say you're -4, -5, so you can only crouch dash to avoid a throw. Well, that's crouch dash fuzzy. So you do the same thing as you did before, but you crouch dash to get out of that throw mix-up. And this is actually in the tutorial. So I'm going to have Lau do, what can he do? Actually, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's just find a move that's -5, which Kira's elbow is -5. And we'll have the CPU do a throw or a mid. And the mid is in training mode, they always use the elbow as the mid. So I'm going to do forward punch on block, and then crouch dash, down forward. And actually, let's do the display for this so you can see the timing. This is a little harder. So down forward, and then immediately go to neutral, so you stand up. And if he throws, which he may throw any day now, yeah, I'll avoid it. And if he does that elbow, I'll block it. And he might do an elbow sometime. There we go. So there you go. This is crouch dash fuzzy. Now, a little note about this. First of all, you can only do it going forward because, of course, I said earlier you can cancel front crouch dash in the guard, but you can't cancel back crouch dash into it. You have to let the whole animation come out. Also, back crouch dash doesn't duck as fast as forward crouch dash, so you'll just get thrown anyway. So in this situation, well, actually, you know what? I'll save that for later. So. There's another type of, well, not another type of fuzzy guard, but another way you can use it. I call it like complete fuzzy guard, maybe. This was actually part of the VF4 tutorial, so actually I don't need to re-record these, do I? So high punch throw, high punch elbow. But let's say they do high punch in a slower low attack, like allows down kickless guard, which is like 20 something frames. So in this situation, so now
Your opponent's putting you in this situation, and they're going to do high punch throw, high punch elbow. We already know how to avoid that with fuzzy guard. Or they might do this, you know, this some is circular, Lao's is half circular, whatever. He's going to do this slower low attack that knocks you down. And that moves like 20-something frames. So for this three-way mix-up, you could actually crouch, stand up, and then crouch again if you see your opponent not do anything to block that low attack. So it's kind of like this. You duck, stand up, and then duck again. And this is a little more advanced, a little more rare. But this was part of the VF4 training mode. And we had a local player that played Akira, and Akira has this low back fist move. And Lao might let me do it, or maybe not. So it's this low back fist move, and it's a little slow. And so, but that was really Akira's only good low attack. So, you know, fuzzy guarding and watching out for a move like that is pretty strong, because this avoids high attacks, and in certain ranges it can avoid your elbow because he kind of swings back before he does it. So against certain characters, learning this extra add-on to fuzzy guard can be pretty useful. So that's the kind of three-way mix-up on fuzzy guard. You can just do that extra input to avoid all three of these things. So there you go. Let's go down this list here. Okay. So fuzzy guard's really good, right? So let's say you put your opponent in this situation. Let's say you do this, you know, this high punch situation where you can do this really easy fuzzy guard where all you have to do is hit down and crouch. So how do you beat this? Well, the most simple way to beat it, which you may have seen in like the Sega official tutorial or other places, is you can just delay your throw. And the best way to do that is to do kick guard cancel, which I talked about at the beginning of the video. Not everyone has this, but you can kick guard cancel, and it makes it, not only does it delay your timing by doing something to be in place of nothing, but it makes it look like you're doing something, right? It makes it look like you're doing a mid attack. So you just KG throw. So if I record the dummy and he does high punch KG, or that's crappy timing. KG throw. That was a high punch, not a throw. So high punch KG throw. And I play this back and I try to fuzzy. Oh, he didn't even do it right. Okay, let's try that again. High punch KG. Okay, there we go. So if I try the fuzzy guard, I'm gonna get thrown because I'm blocking the high punch, duck and stand up, and by the time, now see, you can kind of alter your timing or whatever, but if you're expecting that mix up, you know, you can get thrown. If you do this properly, I don't know if that was good enough, but if you do the timing properly, once they stand up for their fuzzy guard, they can't crouch in time to avoid that throw. So if they're just doing that, yeah. So I'm hitting. You see, I'm hitting down and guard after I guard his high punch to try and duck the throw. That was maybe, yeah. So right there, it depends on your timing, but if you do it right, they can't duck that throw in time. So that's the number one universal way. That's usually where people go to, is that KG throw, and usually people do KG and then their best throw, because usually when people fuzzy guard, they're not breaking throws. So you just delay and you go for your best throw. You can also, you know, you can dash and throw. You can do like high punch, dash up, throw to change your time. You can high punch, evade, crouch dash, and then throw, or evade, dash, throw, or, you know, whatever. Just, you know, you can be creative. Another way that's really, really good to beat fuzzy guard and very applicable for Akira is you can use a guard break move. And actually, how fast is Lao's guard break? Oh, whatever. Anyway, so Akira has his down and all three buttons, which is a guard break, and it's 16 frames, so it's a little slow. So it's slow enough that people would stand up to guard it when they fuzzy guard if you do like high punch into this. So if this hits a blocking opponent, you get PK for free. And so this is another way you can beat fuzzy guard, is use a guard break. And a few characters have these. Lao has one that's it's high. It's what command is it? It's forward and all three. And it's a little slow, and when you're using like an attack like this that you want them to block to beat Fuzzy Guard, you want it to be a little slow because you want them to stand up in time to actually guard it. Because let me see if I can explain this. So when you're going from crouching to standing, there's that little animation, and if you do a high attack, if they're not all the way standing, they won't actually guard it. They'll still crouch under it. So you want it to be like at least like, you know, 14, 16, 17 frames. So you're sure if they fuzzy guard, they're going to stand back up and actually guard it. So I have Lau do high punch and then his guard break. We'll let him do the combo after too. Let's have some fun. Basic combo. Or that's not the combo. Or that's not the combo either. There we go. That's a super basic combo. So play this. I try the fuzzy guard. Oh, doesn't have much range. So I try to fuzzy guard. I get guard broken. Free hit, right? Okay, it's because I stand back up and block it. Even though it's a high attack, it's not part of that mid-throw mix-up, but I'm still going to stand up in time to block it. I'm going to get my guard broken and get hit. Now, Kira also has a high guard break, but his is very fast. It's 13 frames, and so if you fuzzy guard, even though it's 13 frames and typically you want to be stood up by then, your crouching animation won't let you stand up in time. So if you do just high punch in this, fuzzy guard would duck under this. So you gotta do the mid one. That's a little. So if you're looking for stuff, just be aware of that you can't have something too fast, or they'll still duck under it. What's next? Oh, low throw. Well, this guy doesn't have a low throw. Well, actually, before we get to that, let's talk about something I can talk about with this character. You can do high mid strings. So Akira has punch punch, which is a high mid string. And not everyone has these. These are kind of rare, actually. Specifically ones off high punch, because that's the mix-up we're talking about. We're talking about this high punch mix-up. So Akira, you can do this high mid, and this is much different timing from doing like this, because it's within its own string. And you can do this high mid attack and kind of delay it just a little bit, so that when they duck to fuzzy guard, this will hit them. And I guess I should demonstrate it. Okay, so instead of using Akira to demonstrate this, I'm going to use Vanessa, because her punch string is actually really good. So in her defensive stance, she has this punch string. I'm going to try to get the delay. Actually, you can kind of do it full speed, maybe. So I'm going to play this back. So this is a high mid string, and hers, most of these are negative on hit, but hers in her defensive stance is actually causes a stagger when you crouch block it. So I try to fuzzy here, and I just get hit by the second hit. So this is really good, because she gets like a really big mix-up. She can do like a launcher or a throw. She has a very big force guessing game, and if you don't struggle out of the stagger, she can get guaranteed attacks. Although this is a short stagger, it's easy to get out of. But it's a very good mix-up. So she can just mix up punch throw and punch, kind of short delay punch, or even just, you can probably just do this full speed and it'll still have the timing to beat fuzzy guard. Oh no, maybe not. Oh yeah, kinda. But you should just find the timing, and if they try to fuzzy guard, yeah. So that's a fuzzy guard right there. I could beat it. So you want to delay it a little bit, but basically, yeah. If you have that kind of string, you can use that to beat fuzzy guard. And it's very, very effective, and it's also relatively safe. But yeah, it's not as good with other characters as it is with Vanessa, since like I said, like Akira's, if it hits, I think it's like -1. I think Go's is the same way. So there you go. Let's see. Well, real quick, you can also use fast slow attacks to beat fuzzy guard. Of course, So if you're standing up to block in a fuzzy guard, around the 14 to 16 frame kind of range, a 16 frame low, or some characters have like 14 frame lows, those will hit fuzzy guard. But like I was saying before, this is -6 on hit, so you don't get to keep your offense, but it will hit them, just so you know. The end of the round, they're fuzzy guarding, you can take off that little bit you need to win. Also a note, any attack that recovers crouching, no matter what the frame disadvantage, you can fuzzy guard after, because you're already in crouch, right? so you don't have to worry about that. So even though these low kicks are negative on hit usually, you can still just stay in crouch for a split second and then stand up, and you can avoid that throw mid mix up. You can already fuzzy guard. And there's other moves that are like mid that recover crouching too, like Kage's down forward punch, the slap launcher. If you just do the first hit, it's -9, but it recovers crouching, so he can still fuzzy guard after it. So take note of that too. Any low move, even if it's disadvantage, you still have access to fuzzy guard. So that's, it makes low kicks a little less bad than they may seem. So the last thing is you can use low throws to beat fuzzy guard, and both these characters have low throws, which is awesome. So Vanessa can do high punch. Oops, whoops, that's the old command. That doesn't work anymore. So high punch, low throw, and play this back, and I'll try to fuzzy guard, and of course she'll throw me. And low throw, I have to note, low throw is the only absolute foolproof way to beat fuzzy guard. I mean, all these other things will totally work. Actually, the high punch mid string is also pretty foolproof. But basically, low throw is really good because as soon as you commit to the crouch, you're getting thrown. As soon as you commit to it. So there's no like, oh, maybe I'll stay ducked and I won't stand up for the throw, or I won't stand up for their little delayed mid or whatever, or maybe I'll stay in crouch and block their low kick or whatever. No, as soon as you crouch, you're getting low thrown. So low throw is very good against fuzzy guard. So we're talking about fuzzy guarding in this situation, right? This high punch elbow throw situation. So you can fuzzy whenever you want, right? When, like, if you're just standing at this range maybe, and maybe you think your opponent's going to attack and you don't want to commit to anything, you can just crouch, and if you see them do anything, you just stand up. And typically you can react in time to block, like especially if you have kind of the rhythm to the way they're attacking, you can kind of just stand up, and typically you're not going to be able to react fast enough to stand up into the throw, so you'll stand up and you'll block their mid. So this is called reaction fuzzy. So when you're in this situation, it's I call it timing fuzzy versus reaction fuzzy. If you're in this situation, you're just like, oh, I blocked a high punch, I'm going to fuzzy guard, boom, fuzzy guard, I'm just going to do it. So reaction fuzzy is more, you're going to commit to your crouch, and when you see them do something, you stand up. And that takes a little more practice and a little more experience with the game. And it's hard to demonstrate too. Maybe I can demonstrate it, I'm not. So if Vanessa just dashes up and throws, or dashes up and does a mid attack, that's more better example. So that you can just kind of see, like, oh, I see them dash up, they're probably going to attack, and then you just stand up and you see what's happening, because the throw comes out so fast, you're not going to react in time to get thrown. So that's a even in a neutral situation, like, that's why fuzzy guard is so important, because even in a neutral situation, it's so important, and it kind of decides who gets advantage in that neutral situation. And I mean, and that neutral situation is that decides everything. So so basically, you can use everything that I just showed you in the same way. If you're like -4 or -5, you just have to use crouch dash to do the fuzzy guard. But also, one thing to think about. So now that you know about this mix-up and you know how to beat fuzzy guard, something to think about when you're thinking about like what mix-ups you're gonna go for. Okay, let's say low punch. Okay, low punch is +4 on normal hit, and you're gonna hit this a lot. Like, people do a high punch and you do a low punch at like disadvantage, you're gonna get like a normal hit or a minor counter, which is the same thing for low punch, and you get +4. And so they can fuzzy guard in that situation, right? But really they can't, because they would have to crouch dash fuzzy. So if you just do low punch grab, they would have to crouch dash fuzzy to duck out of that. That is not practical to buffer in that crouch dash fuzzy, because if you try it, you know how accurate you have to time it. So once you practice this, you're gonna know that if you hit with this, no one's gonna unless they're 100% ready for it and have perfect execution, they're not gonna be able to fuzzy guard out of this setup. It's just not gonna happen. So when you have a move, especially like a fast move, like a fast mid or something, it's like this gives +4 on normal hit. This hits, go for your forced throw mix-up. Don't go for your anti-fuzzy guard mix-up. You know, to start out. If they start fuzzy guarding, okay, then maybe go for it. But you have to be so inhumanly fast to go for that. Now, you know, +1 to +3, sure, that's easy to fuzzy guard. Any good player is going to probably fuzzy guard in that situation. And then you got to mix it up a little more. You got to use your delay throw or your low throw or whatever. But you got that +4, +5, especially when it's a move that's hitting them that they have to react to, a move that they don't know you're going to do yet when you're doing it. Go for your big shit, man. Just go for it. And likewise, if you're in, like high punch is +5 on hit. Like let's say, high punch is the first punishing move because it's the fastest move, 12 frames for most characters. So you do something that's like -13 and you get this guaranteed PK. If you're doing that move, if they block it, they can punish you, and that they can do punch, throw, or PK and something else. So in that situation, even though it's fast, you could possibly prepare yourself. You could do, your shoulder, whatever. This is -15. Do your throw, you hold your throw escapes or whatever. And then if they go for their, you do this and it gets blocked and you go for this, and if you see them punch you, then you can try to fuzzy guard real fast. Or even better, that you see them PK and then you can buffer in your crouch dash. You can kind of react to that. So just be aware of what is practical to react to and what is not practical to react to. And of course, attacks that are -4, -5 on block, you can of course react to that if you're doing the move. Like if you're doing this move is what, like -4. So you could you're already doing this move. If this gets blocked, I can fuzzy. I'm ready for it. So just be aware of that. Alright, so that's it for fuzzy guard. Let's talk about some other option selects, especially option selects that you're going to use at -6 or more when you can't fuzzy guard. Well, first of all, there's the easiest option select in the world, which is the easy throw escape. Throw escape guard, I think, would be the official term. So I showed this earlier. You can hold guard and hold punch, and then guess back or forward, and you can be guarding. So you guard high and mid attacks, and you can break one of their grabs. So this is basic. This is where you start. So if you get something big blocked, even something that's punishable, like if it's punishable, sure, they can do like PK or something, but they can also throw you. So you wanna break your throws too. And if they do like punch throw, and you're not ready to react in time, you can at least you can be breaking that throw or whatever. So that's where you start. You can also do. Does Wolf have any reversals? Let's get another character. It's a good thing I have this list, or I would just forget about everything. So before we talk about the reversal thing, let's talk about one of the most important option selects in Virtua Fighter, and probably one you've heard about, the evade throw escape. So this is pretty important, and it's a lot easier than it used to be because you don't have to escape multiple directions for throws. You just guess one and live with it. So essentially, you sidestep, and then while you're sidestepping, you break forward, back, or neutral throw. And if you get a failed evade, I'm not going to get my throw command, so I'm just tapping the, any direction, punching guard, and during that evade, it's hidden in there. And if he happens to throw me, and if I guess the right throw, I'll break it. And of course, if he does an attack, I'll evade it. So we'll just set this up, and he'll do punch kick to set up the situation and just do a grab. Now, of course, punch kick leaves me at -4, so technically I can fuzzy guard. But let's just pretend this is a situation I can't fuzzy guard, or let's just pretend I want to take more, get more advantage from my in case he attacks. So we'll play this back. I'll get hit, evade, do a throw, and I'll escape it. Evade, do a throw, and I'll escape it, or not. And he's gonna do a throw every time because I think I hit X. Now I'm gonna play random. Now he's gonna do a mid sometimes, and now I'm gonna evade that. That's awesome. Then he's gonna do a throw, and I'm gonna escape it. So there you go. Really good. A little note when you do this, you should really hold you should hold guard. So you sidestep, and you can hold the throw command. But you notice if I hit punch and guard at the exact same time, you don't get that guard throw escape. So you should do like you would normally do the guard throw escape technique where you hold guard first. So you sidestep and then you roll from like punch to guard, so that, you know, if you come out of that evade, you don't accidentally do like this and get a grab. You don't want to like whiff a grab and counter hit or something. So I mean, there's a pretty big buffer window, so you really kind of don't have to do it. But also, holding it is going to protect you for longer. So, you know, if you just do this, you might miss the throw escape window. So you should really do like this, and just roll from guard to punch, and then that way you'll get guard. And of course, you might get an evade, so you want to be able to react if you evade something. Take advantage of your successful sidestep, which is why usually I just tap it actually, or just tap it for a second like that, and let go just as my evade would recover if he would do an attack. Or he did. I'm going forward out of habit, because most characters' best throw is forward. Some are back, and I hit X again. So you just hold it for a second, and if he does an elbow. If he ever does an elbow, you can take advantage, and your throw doesn't come out, and you can just do whatever you want after you've reacted to your successful evade. Alright, so some more rare stuff, or less common, less useful things, but still cool. So Kira has these reversals, and reversals are just moves that if you stick a move into them, it'll catch the move and do some damage. You've probably seen these. So Kira has a high reversal with back punch and kick, mid with down back, and down with or low with down and PK. And so he has to guess the hit level, and he can counter all standard punches, kicks, elbows, and knees. He cannot counter like headbutts and body checks and stuff like that. But Aoi can. Aoi can actually reversal against every type of attack in the game. She's like the prime defensive character. But anyway, so you can do this, and you can buffer throw escape into it. Simple, right? So, you know, let's set up. Well, actually, I don't even have to do that. So he's doing this this mix-up, this throw elbow mix-up. So I can just reverse mid, and then also throw escape while I'm reversaling. And if he does his elbow, he'll get owned. And I think I did. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So there you go. Easy peasy. And it's not quite as useful as your universal is evade throw escape, but it's way cooler because you get the reversal on. So there you go. What's next? Oh, that's next. Okay, so let's say they do. So we talked about delay attack earlier. So this is PK throw. So let's change this to PK, and then delay this high slam thing. So let's say he hits me with PK, and he waits for my evade to start, and he does this delay back forward punch, which is 14 frames, really fast. So if I do, typically if I would do that guard cancel, I wouldn't be able to block it in time, or guard cancel my failed evade. So what you could do here is you can actually do a delayed evade, or I would say backdash evade. Backdash evade is a kind of a natural way to delay your evade if you want to do this. So just to demonstrate, and I do oops. So backdash evade, and if he does the immediate attack, I'll sidestep it, and if he does the delayed attack, I'll also sidestep it, because the timing of this is so that if he does an immediate attack, I'm still sidestepping early enough to evade it. I'm just evading it later than I normally would, and if he does that delayed attack, I'll evade that too. Okay, so this is just another another piece of the mix-up game, and also this movement in general. I was showing you can do backdash evade like this. In mid-range, this is awesome because at mid-range, let's see, like Akira has a perfect move for this. It has this P plus K, which is godlike, and it pushes really far back, right? So if they do anything after this, they can't really reach you. But you also can't really go in, because if they stick something out, you're still minus after this gets blocked. So in a situation like this, backdash evade is awesome, because if they end up attacking you back, you'll evade it and you'll have more advantage, and you can go in and you'll be like, once you evade that move, you'll be in range to try to do a high punch mix up or something like that. And if they don't do anything, or they do something that's really fast, has like short range, you'll backdash out of it, or you'll evade it depending on the timing, or you'll just get away. And and then when you do the sidestep, you can cancel the sidestep with guard and be safe. So just in general, this is a very, very, very good defensive technique. But that's where it's applicable in the actual close-up mix-up game. Is it'll avoid attacks of pretty much any timing, and attacks that are like way too fast to have that evade. Like let's say he did like PK and then like immediate low punch, right? So that's like pretty much the fastest thing he could do. If he did that, I would just backdash out of the way. Even if if I type my backdash too late like that, I'll just backdash out of the way because it has pretty much no range. So there you go. So option selects you can kind of mix and match almost. Here's a good example. So you can combine fuzzy guard and throw escape guard, right? Because you can guard and then you do the throw escape guard like this, and you're holding guard, and you can fuzzy too. So when you're doing your throw escape guard, when you're fuzzing, you can do this, and you can be escaping neutral in case they like do like delay neutral, but you can also like hold forward or back. So you can fuzzy like this, right, to break forward, or fuzzy like this to break back. So if they do like delay forward throw, delayed back throw, you can be breaking their best throw too, which people usually use for like anti-fuzzy guard. So there you go for that. And then also, you throw escape guard with low throw too. So when you're fuzzing, you're breaking, if you do like this, you're breaking like, you do like this, you're breaking like down forward low throw and forward regular throw, or you could go to down for a second and, maybe by some miracle you're escaping down or something like that. But, so when you're fuzzy guarding, you can put up that extra defense and also guess one throw escape. I mean, really, when you're guarding, you really want to always do this. So it's just kind of an execution thing. What else? Oh, yeah. So here's a really good one too. So this is starting to get more advanced. So let's make Go do. We'll make him do. What's his big launcher? His big launcher's like. Let's say it's trying to think. Well, I think his knee's like 17 frames, so let's assume that his knee launches me like 10 feet in the air. And we'll say, well, I think his best throw is forward, or at least most characters' best throw is forward. So let's make him do, well, it's too fast to demonstrate. I'm not that good. So we'll make him do PK and a half circle forward throw. We'll make him do PK and then this knee move. And then we'll make him do PK, and then a delay knee move. And let me make sure I delayed this right. PK, nope, PK, delay, PK, hits me. No, it doesn't. Wow, this PK has a weird animation. PK, sidestep, hits me with a knee. Okay, so we already know that, like, okay, so he does this. And we can avoid this with like throw escape guard, right? So you get hit and boom, evade throw escape guard forward. You can escape it. All right, we know that'll also escape the mid. But if you do that, if you try doing that and he does this, you do your throw escape guard, you get launched. Well, that's not a launcher, but for a lot of characters, that's a launcher. So just imagine I'm getting launched. So and then of course, if you think he's gonna do the attack or delayed attack, you could do backdash evade. But you can mix these all up, right? You can do backdash evade and then throw escape if you wanted to. You can do backdash evade, throw escape, and you'll evade both options and you'll escape his throw, assuming you timed it right. Okay, but it's kind of tough, and the timing can be, it can be varied a little bit. But there you go, right? You could also do. Remember, you can do sidestep and dash cancel to block delayed like big attacks. Like if he did his like delayed standing palm, it will probably hit me. So you could do like sidestep, dash cancel, and then you're already hitting forward to dash. So it would be pretty easy to just break forward throw, right? If you did this fast enough, so you could do like this guard into guard and then roll to punch and then break the throw. So this is kind of a harder way to do this, but I mean you can do it. So if I do this right, I won't get hit, so I'll evade that. And if he does the delayed attack, I'll guard it, hopefully, and I'll break the throw if he does the throw. So you can combine these things to avoid a lot of stuff. It's just a matter of, you know, how fast you are at reacting to the situation. And I wish he would do, yeah. I'm not timing my guard. I'm not timing my punch late enough after the guard to get the guard after the dash cancel. But you get the idea. This is actually possible. It's a lot harder. The backdash evade throw escape's a lot better idea, right? So there you go. What else is here? I think that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. Any cool option selects, but I think that's pretty much it. Well, that was the hard part, so let's do more fun stuff. Let's talk about back-turned and side-turned situations. I'll use Kage for this since I know most of his stuff. And he'll fight... doesn't matter. Fight Brad. Brad's cool. Brad's a swell guy. What stage? What stage? Use a care stage. Haven't used that yet. So, back-turned and side-turned. Where do I start? So first of all, you can be back-turned in this game, right? Let's go ahead and do this first. This is way more important for this. So, some characters have moves like Kage, he can do back-back punch or a back-back kick and it leaves him back-turned, or back-back K plus G. Some characters don't have any moves that leave them back-turned, or sometimes you'll be back-turned and, like Kage has this forward throw that leaves the opponent back-turned. So first of all, basic stuff. While you're back-turned, you can hold down back, back, or up or down, as long as you roll to it, or yeah, to walk around. And as soon as you hit a forward direction, like down forward, up forward, or forward, you'll turn around. But you can walk around like this. This actually, you know what? I'm not sure of the evasive properties. This actually used to be really evasive. It might not be anymore. It's probably, yeah. I don't think it does anything anymore. But just a note, you can move around like that. And then also, let's see what else. When you're back turned, so if you're just from a neutral position, you can turn around some different ways. You can hit guard to just turn around and normally. You can hit down back, and you'll oh, you have to hit double down back? I could have swore it was just down back. They may have changed it. Okay, so you hit double down back. You can like do a reverse kind of crouch dash the other way, and that works the same for back. You'll kind of back up and turn around. You can get hit. You can get hit out of all this stuff, by the way. You can do it with crouch dash. If you just duck, you'll just go down. But of course, if you hit another direction first, you can just walk down like that. But yeah, so you can duck. If you buffer, so if you do this and just hit down forward, you'll turn around just like a ducking turnaround. But if you buffer it, like let's say you're in recovery from something, like I do this and I immediately hit down forward towards Brad, you can crouch dash towards him with your back turn, and the same thing for back dash in case you want to do this. So like maybe like you have some attack that leaves you back turn that ends in juggle, and you have some cool back turn attack you want to use, you can get close, and you can get close by doing this, and then do your like attack from there if you want to stay back turn. But only if you buffer it. If you just do it out in the open, you'll just turn around like that. Also, typically it's a universal thing. You notice if I do punch from back turn, it's 10 frames. That is faster. Kage actually has a 11 frame high punch. Kage, Eileen, Leon, and one other character has a Pi. Kage, Eileen, Pi, and Leon all have 11 frame high punches, and everybody else has 12. But anyway, so high punches and other attacks tend to be faster from back turn, and you know everybody has special back turn attacks. Like a Kage has this 14 frame low attack, gets an advantage on hit, and it's actually low. It's pretty good. Let's see what else. And you know, there's like he even has a this move that's this flip kick, which is I think plus on guard. I just don't know how much. So +4 on guard. So you can. So some characters have access to some very, very awesome moves while they're back turned and only when they're back turned. But of course you have to be in that back turn situation. Let's see. Okay, so let's start talking about the frame situation. So when you're back turn. Oh, first of all, when you're back turn, if you buffer crouching from it, if you just duck, it's instant. You can duck instantly. So like, well, what that means is so remember we were talking about before, you get put into this like forced guessing game, right, where you can't duck throws. So if you make Brad do a throw after this, now this move is -4, right? So it leaves me back turn. And if I duck, usually at -4 you can't just duck throws, but you can duck it if you just hold down. So just so you know, ducking is instant, so you don't get like some kind of guaranteed back throw crazy mix-up situation. So when you're back turn, when you hit guard, it takes 6 frames to turn around. And what that means is, during those 6 frames, you're tapping guard, you cannot block. Okay, so Kage, let's turn on guard, has this throw I was showing you earlier that's forward punching guard, and it gives you +12 in a back turn situation. So since it's +12, that means it's +12, and then it's going to take 6 frames for Brad to be able to guard. So that means that I can do a move that's up to 18 frames, and it'll still be guaranteed. So let's find a move. What can we do that's 18 frames? That's 20. Let's knee 17. That's good enough, right? So if I do this and then immediately buffer that knee, it hits. And it'll actually hit in a side turn situation. But he can't guard it. Because you can start turning around to the side when you're back turn, but you can't guard until that 6 frames is up. So if I do an 19 frame move, which Kage actually has a 19 frame move, which back and kick. If I do this, he can guard it. And he guards it from a side turn situation. So what happens is, you hit guard, and you start to turn around, and for the first 6 frames, you can't guard. And then for 3 more frames, once those 6 frames are over, you can guard, but you guard in a side turn situation. So if I do a move that's 19, 20, or 21 frames, like this is 20 frames, if I do this, he can guard it, but it'll be in a side turn situation. I'm assuming I buffer it perfectly. So it'll be side turn. And then if I do a move that's 22 frames, and I don't know if this is 23. That's good enough. Or this is 20. I'll just use 23. So he'll guard this move front ways. So I can't get this on a side guard. Okay, so that's how it works. So you're back turned. For 6 frames, you can't block. And then after those 6 frames, you can block, but you're in side turn for 3 frames. And then after those, you're completely turned around after those full 9 frames. It's a little complicated, I know. Too many frames, I know. So I think that's really all there is to back turn. So you go to back turn, and after those 6 frames, you go into that side turn, that side guard situation. So let's talk about side guard, because side guard is actually a pretty big part of this game, and it's kind of confusing, right? Okay, so how do you get to someone's side? Well, you saw before, if they're back turned and you let those 6 frames go up and you attack them in the next 3 frames after those 6 frames are up, they go in the side guard. So that's one way. It's a little rare though. The 2 most common ways to go and get to somebody's side is 1, you evade a move. Every time you successfully evade a move with up or down, and you immediately attack back, you will be at their side, as long as you buffer your attack straight away from the evade, and if they commit the guard. So I'm evading his punch, and I don't even get advantage from evading a punch. And I'm doing these super slow moves, but he's still in side guard, because as long as you buffer the attack, like if I wait and I do something, he'll be in front guard. But if you immediately buff the attack after your sidestep, and if they commit to guarding or they do something that's not fast enough to interrupt your move, you get that side guard situation. Also, if their opponent is just guarding or not doing anything, and use your offensive evade and immediately buffer an attack, that'll also be, you got to do it right away. It's a side guard situation, as long as you're just buffering the move. So you can do a move as slow as you want, but as long as you're buffering it during the recovery of this, it'll make a side guard situation. Of course, they can react to you and like just low punch you before your attack comes out or whatever. So that's the weakness of this, but that gets you to their side. So how does side guard work? Well, side guard is basically any attack you do, whatever the frames for that move are, during a side guard situation, it's 3 frames better. So if I do high punch and it hits, it's +5 on hit. Or actually, that's a bad example. Sorry. Okay. Elbow is even on normal hit. It's like +6 on crouch hit. This normal hit doesn't happen often, but let's say it's going to happen. So it's even on hit for Kage. If I go to his side and then do it, it's going to be +3. +3 on hit. Okay. This is also even on normal hit. If I do side turn situation, it's +3. This is +1. This will now be +4. Okay. Guard, it's the same thing. So elbow is -4, so it's 3 frames better, so it's going to be -1. Oops, I suck. -1. Okay, so that's the same for everything, except for high punch and low punch. High punch and low punch, it's a 2 frame difference. So high punch is +5 on hit here,
And +7 on hit from the side.
low punch is +4 on hit, it's going to be +6. Same for guard. So high punch is going to become +4 on side guard, which means, hey, guess what? You can't do a normal fuzzy guard, and you can throw them, but it'll be, if they just sit there and guard, it'll be a side throw. Side throw's kind of stuff. Anyway, and low punch is what, -5 on guard, so it'll be -3 on guard from the side. Okay. So for everything, every attack except for high punch and low punch, it's a 3 frame difference. It's all your attacks just get 3 frames better, and your high punch and low punch get 2 frames better on a side guard. Now also, let's cover the technical stuff first to get it out of the way. So you'll notice if I go to side guard and I just keep on doing high punch, he's stuck in this side guard, and I have like +4 every time. It's kind of cheap. What determines whether you stay in side guard after you side guard something is once you leave block stun, you're in side guard for 12 more frames. Okay, so my high punch is +4, right? So 4 + 12 is 16. So I can do a high punch, and then after my high punch, I can do a move that's up to 16 frames, and that'll also be side guard if he chooses to stay in side guard. So that's -6 on block normally, and that's going to be -3 here. So I have to do high punch, side kick, and side kick is 16 frames, and that's still side guard. Or god damn, I suck. High punch, side kick, so side guard, both ones. But if I do this, which is 17 frames, then he gets out of side guard. So it's just that 12 frame window. So just so you're aware of that way you can come up with attack strings that are will lock them in side guard, and you can get really dirty. Another really dirty thing about side guard is you can't switch from blocking high and low for a certain amount of frames. I'm not sure how many frames it is. It might be like 6 or something. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Because basically it's just strings, like canned strings, that are going to take advantage of this. So Kage has this back punch and kick punch string. Back P plus KP. And it's high-low. So if you do this from the side, and, well, actually, how can I demonstrate this? Because I need him to switch to, actually, I can do this Mimic, can I? Mimic, guard, yeah. So Mimic is super handy and just makes the opponent track whatever you do. So I'm gonna do this on side guard. Oh, he can't block it because you can't switch to low block in time to do it. So yeah, this is only applicable to the string. So if I do like this, he can totally block that. You can, like, if you do a normal like series of attacks or whatever that switches it, that doesn't matter. But there's a string that switches from like low to mid, which I don't know if there's many of those, or like for this one that's just high to low or mid to low, and it's fast enough. If the low attack comes up fast enough, they cannot guard that. So once they block that from the side, this low hit is guaranteed. And then you get +4, which means I can do up to a 16 frame move, and they'll still be in side guard. So you can do all kind of cool stuff. Also, so some attacks, and actually I think it might be just side kicks. It's the universal, so everybody has these basic attacks like high punch, low punch, elbow, and I'll get more in depth in that later. We're talking about like basic offense, but side kick is one of these universal moves, and usually it's down forward and kick, and generally they are 16 frames, even on normal hit. They're like +8 on crouch hit, +8 on counter hit, -6 on block. That's how you can recognize them. All that, usually that frame data is consistent. Some of them are different. I think Lynn's is like 17 frames because he's kind of bullshit and he gets side turned from really dumb stuff. But anyway, so side kicks, when you get them on a side counter hit, they cause this huge crumple that's really, really, really cool. It's that. And you have a day and a half to do like the biggest combo you got. So when you get a side turn situation, generally what I would recommend is do a high punch throw, which of course on guard it's high punch is +4, so they would have to crouch dash fuzzy, which I don't even know if you can crouch dash fuzzy from a side guard, but it doesn't really matter because who can react to a fucking high punch is +4 on block. You can do high punch on block and it's +4, which is enough to force your side kick against, you know, a 12 frame low punch. So you do this, or this. And if they hit a button after they block your high punch, and I can even demonstrate that. Let's have them guard and do a low punch. So this, boom, they get counter hit. So this is the typical mix-up on a side guard situation. This pretty much is universal. Pretty much everybody has some sidekick move they can do and force from their high punch. So typically in side guard situation, that's what you want to do. Go straight for that. And of course, there's other stuff you can do. You can get creative. So now that you know the rules now for side guard, so you can come up with your own stuff. You can do like this, and then if they keep blocking, you do like this with Kage, and then you still have plus, then you do like this, and then you can go into Jumanji and do like some other thing, and you can watch match videos and X-copy people's tag strings. But yeah, side guard gets pretty dirty. I think I covered everything. So yeah, that's about it for side turn stuff. Oh, also, so back turn has its own special attacks. Side turn does not have its own special attacks. When you do side turn attacks, you do your normal front turn attacks, just so you know. And also, you can still evade while side turned. You can totally evade, and you'll get a successful evade if you evade. So you still have that. You have that option. So you can still do like evade, throw, escape, and stuff like that, just so you're aware. So something I haven't really talked about yet is ring outs and wall stuff too. Well, ring outs are pretty important in this game, so let's go over that first. You'll notice all the stages have different like configurations. So usually the ring out stages, which are open and you can just knock people right out, those are the biggest. And then once you get into the like wall stages, you notice they're smaller. So that's these are like 16 by 16. These are half walls, so you can like juggle people out. And they're smaller, they're 12 by 12, and then the closed-in ones are 10 by 10. And here's a different one with breakable walls, and we'll get to that in a second. But first, let's go over basic ring out stuff. Because this is the rules in VF they're kind of looser, I guess, than than most games. So in this game, let's switch this back to the normal thing. All right. So first of all, you can just push people right out of the ring. There's no, if it's an open stage, you can just, there's no protection or anything. You can just push them right out. You can walk or dash yourself out of the ring too. You can, jump out or whatever. So if they're just sitting there blocking, you could just push them out. Of course, if you make them block a move. Oops. Yeah. Oh, let's just do this. This makes it easier. Just make them block a move, push them right out. So they're kind of like forced to evade. You can throw them right out. I mean, as long as their body moves past the edge of the ring, they just get rung out. And anything rings out. And you can ring out yourself by doing like the wrong throw. I don't know if Akira has anything that does that. If I'm like, if I'm like over here and I do this, I can ring myself out just by doing that throw because the way my character moves. So you have to be aware of where your throws place you, and there's a lot, or even throw break animations. Like, see, I think you can make them escape throws. Yes, throw escapes. So, I mean, you can You can get wrung out by someone breaking your throw. Let's see if we can make that happen. I'm sure we can. You know, you can get wrung out. They can ring themselves out, you know, etc. You know, right there, you boom, wrung himself out. He would lose that. Whoever falls out of the ring first loses. Because in a lot of situations, you'll both fall out of the ring. Okay, and then there's low fence, and low fence is sort of like Soul Calibur, where you can't be walked out. You can't, you know, you can't position yourself to just fall out on a throw. You'll just get, you know, obviously you'll get thrown out if you get juggled or something. You get knocked down in a certain way. You can get knocked out, but basically only things that juggle will knock you out. So if you do something like this, you don't get knocked out. But I mean, once you get floated, you can fall out like that. Maybe this will make them fall out. Nope. So it's kind of, I mean, it's sort of specific, but you can usually tell what's going to knock them out, what won't. So basically just floats, and you can jump out too. I think you can jump yourself out. So, you know, be careful of that. Don't do that. Oops. Whoops. Okay. Yeah. So only floats. Okay, and then there's half walls. I went into versus to show this because I want to show the breakable walls, but basically half walls are like low walls. You just have to float them way higher to get out. And see if I can get a counter hit here. Yeah, so if you float them really high, they can float out of the ring. And also, so this stage is breakable half walls, and there's also breakable full walls. The way they work is each one of the 4 walls can be broken if you hit them against the wall when you KO them. So if you hit them with a wall hit on the hit that KOs them, it'll break the wall, and then that'll stay broken for the rest of the match. And that can happen. There's high breakable walls too, and then some of them aren't breakable at all. Some of the high wall and high fence and half fence stages are kind of split in half. Half of them are breakable and half of them aren't. So that brings us to wall combos. Yeah. So well, first, before we talk about wall combos, gotta talk about wall stuns, right? There's a few different types of stuns in this game. First, any attack that leaves your opponent standing causes 1 of 2 stuns. Either causes a wall stun or a wall stagger. If your move does 20 damage or less, it causes a wall stun, and if it does 21 damage or more, it causes a stagger. So it's easy to tell which does which. So you see I do a high punch, or like a low punch, or a low kick. You see this little stun. It doesn't have any kind of shake animation. It's just a set amount of like stun on the opponent. And you get more advantage than you normally would. You even get enough advantage that, like, if you do like even a low kick, which is normally disadvantage on hit, you can do like low kick and throw, and I'm pretty sure you can't fuzzy it, although it depends on like the distance to the wall. But you get really good mix-ups, you know, from it, and it's pretty easy to hit, or you can, you know, you get more stun from all your other attacks. And also you do get some guaranteed stuff off this stun if you're doing like a string that's not normally guaranteed. So like Akira has like this thing. Oops. And you notice the third hit does not combo. But if you're up against the wall and you get that, so that second hit makes contact with the wall, you can like guarantee the third hit. And then you can like see it's 3 hits and you can get something after it. But usually, you know, like any kind of thing like this, like you're not gonna get like a guaranteed high punch or like some separate attack. But any kind of string where it was normally like you would only get the last hit on counter hit or something, or 2 hits normally wouldn't connect together. If you get that wall stun in between, you can get enough advantage to do that. But normally you just get a better mix up. And also there's a time limit on these, so if you notice I do like high punch, and the second one doesn't cause a stun, there's a little bit of like a grace period before you can do it again. Let's demonstrate. It's not a stun, it's not a stun, and then I'm doing the wrong move, it's not a stun, and then get the stun back, you know, whatever. And then there's wall staggers. And wall staggers, like I said, is any move that doesn't knock down and causes 21 damage or more. So, like, sidekicks let's do this, make this easier. I like to reset too much of a habit. Anyway, so you get these wall staggers anytime you hit with a 21 damage or more move against the wall. And some moves push back more, like if you do like the Cures People's K, it pushes, ooh man, way far back, like they're almost to the end of the stun and they just hit the wall and go into the stagger, so you can get like more advantage. And actually, I should go over staggers too. So when you see staggers in this game, they took a lot of the old ones out. Like, it used to be like if you crouch block elbows or side kicks, you get staggered, and you don't anymore. But whenever you see this stagger icon, you gotta like mash all the buttons to get out faster. And usually the best way to mash is that's the wrong thing. Best way to mash is hold guard and spin the stick around real fast and smooth, and just mash people's K. And you normally always want to hold guard because you don't want to, like, you don't want to come out of the stun and be mashing something, get launched on counter, and that would suck, right? So you can do that. And also when you see this stun icon, the green joystick just means the stun's coming up. It means you're in that stagger. And I'm sorry if I call stagger stuns. It's called a stagger, not a stun. Anyway, you see this? The green stick just means it's coming up, and when you see the red, that means the game is currently accepting inputs. So anything you do during the green doesn't matter, so you have time to react to being staggered, and then you can shake out. But even then, there's still guaranteed attacks. Like if you put the computer on fastest stagger recovery, there's not a lot guaranteed a lot of the time off staggers, but no one can mash that fast. So, and to give you an idea, a normal stagger is a bit slower than most people can mash, and fastest is like inhumanly fast. So it kind of sucks. The actual practical stagger recovery is kind of somewhere in between, so you kind of gotta try the shit on yourself and try to get out. But anyway, and then moves that knock down can have different stuns. There's actually 3. There's the old kind of generic face first fall off the wall stun thing. This has been around since VF4. You don't see it as often because of the new kinds of wall splats and stuff, but it's still there. And so if you have something that like knocks down, that just kind of knocks them up and isn't really that powerful, you'll get this. And you can't tech roll this, and it's kind of notable because, let me turn this on. All the other kind of wall stuns you can tech roll if you actually hit the floor, but this you can't. So if you get in this this kind of stun, you get like a guaranteed down attack or anything that like really scrapes the ground. As long as you have enough time, like a Curious Body Check, you can hit him with. You can like hit him with like his knee or something. Anything that hits really low, but you usually don't have that much time. You don't even really get a free pounce unless you do it really early. But yeah, you don't see them as much because most of the generic wall stuns, or the generic attacks, they cause this kind of wall hit, which is called I call it a wall slump. I think in the official video it's called a wall. They call it a wall slide. But this is what you see most of the time when you hit someone into the wall with something. So you see he's in the stagger, and I just did the sidekick again. Whenever you hit with a move inside a stagger, it'll usually knock down or cause some kind of stun. Like if it has a stun that's only on counter hit, usually you'll get that stun. But yeah, so this is kind of the generic thing, and if you reach the bottom, you can tech roll, but you can hit them with like whatever you want during this. So like any kind of move usually hits. I mean, you can do pretty much. I'm surprised that didn't hit. Do pretty much whatever, that kind of thing. And then there's the wall splat, and this is for like really kind of more powerful moves. So like if I stagger and do this move, there's a wall splat. And you see he kind of sticks to the wall for a second, and you have more time to hit him with different stuff and see. And then you hit him again. They go into the fall back off the wall thing. And get like, so you can't even get a down attack, but you can do like this or whatever. I think that's pretty much it about stuns. So that brings us to the actual wall combos part. This tutorial isn't really about combos, but it's pretty important to know like the general recipe for wall combos, because there's a few more steps to it than more normal juggles. I mean, normal juggles, you hit them up, you do like maybe a jab, and then you do your bounce move, and then you do a finisher or something. There's a few more steps here. So first, every good wall combo starts with either a wall stagger or a wall splat. So usually you hit him with, you're gonna hit him with your sidekick or some move, like maybe this, the Curious PK, this is good too. Like anything that causes a wall stagger. And there's a lot of moves that also like knock back on counter hit. Like a lot of the I don't know if Akira's does it, we should check. Yeah, so on counter hit you see they move back really far on his sidekick, and then if they hit the wall during that, they'll go into that wall stagger immediately. Actually, gotta be a little closer, yeah. It works. I think it works a lot further with his P plus K. You can really kind of, or was working. Anyway, yeah, if they hit the wall during that slide back, then they'll go into that stagger. So any move that like pushes them back like that, it's pretty useful for starting wall combos. And then you go into a wall splat, and wall splats are caused by, it's kind of move specific, so you usually gotta look for stuff. But usually any big launchers will cause a wall splat, and any like really powerful like push moves will cause it. So like in Akira's case, you can just do P plus K and that'll cause a wall splat. You can do his Yoho launcher. You can probably do knee, and that'll work. Usually any big launchers, all that shit'll work. But so you'll usually start with a wall stagger and you go right into the wall splat, or you can just go right for the wall splat. If you got a really good move that's like safe and just splats against the wall, you can just start with that. So first you get your wall splat, right? So let's say I start with this sidekick and then this thing. And then the next thing you want to do is your big bound move. Now we talked earlier about the two different bounces. There's the normal bounce, which is like Akira's is his normal bounce is I can't do his launcher. Back down forward punch, which is that. And let's turn on the commands, why not? I mean, well, actually, there's not really any reason to. Anyway, and then his corkscrew back punch is his big like restand, his restand thing. So like if you do it again, you get that crazy restand thing going on. I don't know if you can really do it off this, but it works. It'll work off like wall combos since you get that extra when they stick to the wall. So anyway, you do this, and then you do this, and you usually do your after you get your wall splat, you do your big bound move. And then typically, if you want just a real generic thing, you can do this, wall splat, then your big bound, and then like a jab, and then your normal bounce move. And I missed that because I suck. You do a jab, then you do your normal bounce move, and then you can do your finisher. So this is the I do like double jump kicks, and there you go, 100 damage. This is the normal, recipe for wall combos. You can do more than that. You can usually, it's recommended if you really want the most damage, you usually want to do this, then the wall splat. And you can usually get in like a big hit before your big bound launcher thing. It depends on the character though. And I cannot do his launcher. It's so hard. Boom. Ah. There we go. And then you can get that maybe. Nope, can't. Anyway. You get the idea. Maybe you can do like this. Standing palm, didn't get that. Nope. Anyway, so that's generally the recipe for wall combos. Because I see a lot of people, they just they hit them with a juggle and they start to do their normal like juggle. So they do this and then they get on the wall and their shit doesn't hit, or they only get a little bit of like more damage, or they even get less damage than they normally would. So it's when you get someone on the wall, you want to look for that wall stuff, that's wall specific stuff. And see, even throws can cause like see, it causes that bounce off the wall. So Akira, off his forward throw, he would get guaranteed down attack or guaranteed. See, you can get guaranteed buddy check or something like that. It's pretty cool. Is that it for walls? I think that's it. I mean, there's wall throws. I don't know if does Akira have a wall throw? It's not really important. Some characters have cool throws if you can do them up against the wall and they're useful. Not really much to say there. Well, that's it on my list for like game mechanics and stuff. So let's talk about general strategy. That's always good, right? Let's get a nice generic character. All right. So, well, first of all, well, no, frames are good. We need frames. Frames good. Let's do this. All right. So, like I said at the beginning of this video, most of your offense is going to start from high punch, because high punch is +2 on block. And aside from a few characters on block, if you do high punch and then elbow, most characters can't interrupt this. This is kind of a foolproof string. And of course, you want to hit guard after the punch, so you can just do the elbow right away, and all that good basic stuff. So, except for Leon, Pai, Kage, and Eileen, those characters all have 11 frame punches. So technically, they could interrupt this after the high punch with their high punch. But that's not really that important because it's still going to beat their low punch. And also Vanessa in her defensive stance has a 10 frame move. But generally, you want to start off with this because this is like, if they hit a button after this, you'll know right away what their intentions are. You know, like in VF, when you first play somebody, you're really just looking for information. You want to know their habits and what they like to do in certain situations. So when you start playing somebody, generally you want to start, you know, first thing you do on offense, just do this. And if they, you know, let's just put them on low punch. If you know, the first thing you see is this, well, you know, that can tell the whole story right there. If they, you know, the first time they even block a high punch, they're just you know, they're just hitting buttons. Well, you can just go in. You know, anytime you have advantage, you know, you should go for your launcher. Anytime you block one of their moves, go for your launcher, because, you know, it looks like, you know, it seems like they just want to hit buttons, you know, or you learn when they can freeze up. So maybe you start with this, and then after you hit with this, you have so much advantage. You know, you have +7. You only need like +5 to force a normal launcher. Like Jackie's forward kick is really good, really big launcher. If it hits on counter, you can do like 100 damage. And you only need +5 to force this. So, you know, you do this, or you do this, and then once you get that advantage, they're going to stand up, even if you hit them, you know, because you hit their low punch, if you hit them crouching, and they'll get stood up, and you'll have +7, and you'll have that force guessing game. And then if they hit more buttons, boom, you're taking off half their life. And if they freeze up, of course you can throw. But that's basically where you want to start. And if they block that, you know that you can fuzzy after your elbow. So this is a pretty standard, you know, flow chart. And then once you fuzzy, you know, usually most people after they block this, then they're going to want to hit buttons if they're, you know, if the normal kind of intelligent player, you know, they see your elbow get blocked, they're going to go on their offense, and you go on your fuzzy. And if they throw or do a mid, you get your advantage back, and you can try for your mix-up. So maybe if they block this and you fuzzy their next attack, maybe you go for your throw next time. So it's all about patterns. This is just basic patterns. And starting out, you want to keep it basic, and then start from there, and then just learn, you know, just use the option that beats whatever option you think they're going to do. It's simple, but it works. So yeah, that's a common flow chart. High punch elbow. Also a common thing, like when you do high punch elbow and it gets blocked, high punch elbow and then do like backdash evade. That's a pretty good thing to start with, because most people, especially at the beginning of the match, they're not gonna try to just throw you right away. You know, usually in throws in this game, you kind of got to set them up. You got to make people freeze up first, and people tend to want to hit buttons before they want to freeze up. So you do this and you do this, and then you backdash evade, and what you're getting is you're getting information. You know, you want to see what they're gonna do. So you should always wonder, you know, if they block my elbow, what are they gonna do, and watch what they do. And if they do like a low punch after they block your elbow, you can blow that up. And that brings me to beating low punch, which is a huge part of Virtua Fighter. So low punch is -5 on block, right? So if somebody's just sitting here doing low punch, and that's, well, I apparently suck at mashing low punch. Damn, you can't even do it that fast anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna just make them sit here and do low punch over and over. So if somebody's doing this, the most basic thing you can do is just block one of them and then just interrupt. Okay? And technically, you can interrupt with your launcher if you have a 17 frame launcher, because they're -5, right? So you can force that 17 frame move. So technically, if you act right away, they launched for this. This is like super risky to get your low punch blocked and then keep doing it. But as you can see, you know, sometimes it's kind of hard to react to, especially in the middle of a match. So usually you want to just go for elbow, or you can even go for your own low punch, but I don't recommend that. That gets good players, especially, which I'll get into in a minute. But you know, blocking and being able to this is like your first line of defense. You want to learn how to do this. There's way more powerful things you can use to beat low punch with like less work, but it's more risky. So you want to learn how to do this. You want to learn how to react to this, you know. And even for yourself, you know, when you do low punch, it's really hard at the beginning to say, oh, did this hit or did it get blocked, you know. But it's just something that comes with experience. Another way you can beat low punch other than just taking advantage of it, because like I said, it's disadvantage on block. Always remember that. You can use, I don't know why I'm changing this. You can use backdash to blow it up, because low punch has no range, right? So if I get my elbow blocked and I backdash, I'm totally out of his range. You know, if I get my elbow blocked and I just go for attack, of course I'm going to get beat, right? if I just do this, and as long as some moves you got to be spaced out. Like you can even do a side kick and do that, but it depends on the spacing of the move, and it depends on the character too. But so let's say you get the elbow block, you can just backdash and like side kick, and you gotta just do it on prediction, so you can get kind of guaranteed attacks. But you don't even have to do something small. You can do backdash launchers. See that hit him on normal hit. It didn't hit on counter, but boom, counter hit, or minor counter, I mean, which is basically the same as normal hit. But yeah, so you can really blow up low punch. Backdash attack is really strong and really good if you're not good with like your timing when you're taking advantage of the low punch. If you just want to you're like, oh, this guy's low punching all day, especially if you just got a move block. Typically if you get a move block, low punch is not a very good option. They could do like an elbow or a launcher or a throw or a different mix-up. Low punch is like one of the least good options. But a lot of people just, they panic, and the low punch is like the first place they go whenever they just don't know what to do. They're not too familiar with the game yet, so they're just going to go to low punch. So this, or backdash PK, you can do a million things. Anything that has a little bit of range to it, just do this. Or even you can even use Lyric low punch to bait their low punch. Like you do low punch, and a lot of people's first reaction, boom, I want a low punch back, and you just fuck them up, man. Like boom, straight in the launcher. So I mean, that's big damage, even if you just do like basic combos, it's big damage. You can also jump. You can do jumping moves over low punch. I think does Jackie's? Nah, I don't know if he has any jumping moves. Not really important. But everybody has this generic jump, and I don't know exactly how fast this jumps. It might be like, it might be like frame 1. How? Yeah, this is -10. Yeah, it's definitely not frame 1, but it's pretty fast. You can do like a medium disadvantage move, and let's see, that's -8. Okay, that's a little too much. So you could do something maybe up to like -6. Yeah, and still get away with it. Yeah, so you can jump over low punch like that. Not everybody has moves that are going to hit low punch, but see right there, you can do jump and do his up 4 plus guard and then kick right away and do his mid-air kick. And pretty much every character has some attack like this that can just go right over low punch like this and hit it for free. And see, it's hitting on minor counter, so I'm getting it guaranteed. So that's another option you got. And then of course, since low punch is a crouching move, even though it's -5, well, -5 you can still fuzzy, but of course it's a crouching move, so it's really easy to fuzzy after. So good players after low punch, they tend to fuzzy guard after they do it. Actually, we need another character for this. We need someone with low throws. So like I was saying, low punch, you can fuzzy after low punch. Well, I mean, of course you can fuzzy. It's -5, but since it recovers crouching, you don't even have to do, you don't even have to crouch that. You can just, stay crouching for a second and fuzzy guard. It's real easy. And any attack that recovers crouching, you can do this with. And you can, I'll demonstrate real quick. And all you do is stay crouched for a second and then stand up again. It's super easy. So a good player, they're obviously, if they get their low punch blocked and they see it get blocked, typically they're gonna fuzzy because it's like the safest thing you can do. And so, like I said earlier in the video, it takes 7 frames to crouch. But it also takes frames to stand up from crouching to get out of low throws. So the same rule applies to throws, to high throws and low throws. So I'm not sure how many frames it is. I think it's probably 7, but it's not too important. But all you need to know is, actually, I should just record the computer. So I'm gonna record the computer. Just gonna go do low punch and then stand right back up. Do the fastest stand up they can possibly do, which is just hit neutral and guard, right? So I'll just make sure I get this right. Low punch and then just hold guard, right? And then if I do this, if I just block this low punch and immediately low throw, and if I do it right, you gotta do it real fast, and you'll just low throw them, right? So the same stuff applies to standing up from crouching as it does from crouching to standing as it does from standing to crouching, right? So that's another way to beat low punch, is to do your like fuzzy guard mix up. This is more against good players because they're usually gonna fuzzy after this, but low throw is even better because even if they don't really necessarily want to fuzzy because they're just standing up and guarding, they're still kind of locked into that crouch. But you can get out of this way more ways than you can to get out of the standing version. So you could do dash, and you'll immediately stand up. And you can also you can just sidestep, and those two things will stand you up. They'll stand you up right away. I think you can probably also just jump, if that's, you know, I mean, it beats low punch too, right? So that's cool. So you jump right out. This is something I kind of glossed over earlier, but it's pretty important. The concept of just attacking out of disadvantage. So, Virtua Fighter players call this reverse nitaku, which means reverse two choice. It's basically saying, you know, the rock paper scissors, you know, attacks beat throw, and throw beats guard, and guard beats attack, you know, whatever. So you know that attacks will always beat throw. So the concept is, you know, if you're at a big disadvantage, and let's say you know, let's pick a move. Let's say like Wolf's Knee. So let's say you go for this knee, right? And you get this block. This is -8. And so at -8, of course, you're in this forced guessing game, and if they can do pretty much any launcher they want, and it'll stuff the fastest attacks you got. And, you know, if they throw, you can't duck out of it, so you have to do these defensive techniques. You have all these options, and so you're at a big disadvantage, and they might want to throw, but since attacks beat throw, you always have a chance to beat the throw by just attacking, right? So you can just do this, and you can just attack it, and it'll beat their throw. So the concept is, if you're going to attack it at a disadvantage, you might as well do the biggest thing you got, because if you do this, and you do low punch, and they launch, you're going to get launched. Like, it's going to beat your low punch. And if you do this at a disadvantage, you'll also get launched. So the risk is kind of the same, you know? Like, if they launch, you're fucked either way. But if they throw, you know, instead of just getting that, you can get a launcher. So this is Wolf's back forward punch plus kick. So if you're a big disadvantage and you just want to keep attacking, if you think, you know, if you're doing this against a throw specifically, you might as well just go for your launcher, because look how much damage this does. This does like a shitload of damage. You know, that's like almost 100 damage, right? Just because you try to throw. That's a lot better than doing this, right? Because a lot of people at disadvantage, they're like, well, I'll either block or I'll just do a low punch. Well, that's kind of a stupid thing to do, because either, you know, if they try to attack either way, you know, you're gonna get fucked on. But at least if they throw, you can get your big damage. So that's the concept of reverse nitaku. But there is actually something in this game that to deter reverse nitaku a little bit. It's not really to deter it, I'd say, but more to just add more reward for someone hitting you out of a big launcher. So if you notice, there's actually 3 types of counter hits in this game. So we already know about normal counter hit, right? So that's just attacking, you know, interrupting an attack. And we know about minor counter, which is that blue one. It's basically kind of like normal hit. So normal counter hit, like if let's say they low punch here, that yellow counter, and you get 150% damage. And for the minor counter, you get the 125. Well, there's also a 175% damage counter, and that's if you interrupt anything other than a high punch, a low punch, a basic elbow, or a basic low kick, I think. And there might be other attacks, but basically, if you interrupt something big, like, see, if she does her elbow, it'll still be the normal counter hit. But if you interrupt something real big, and I'll make her do like punch elbow or something. Actually, this isn't gonna work, because I'll just put it on normal counter hit. So when you're in training mode and you put it on normal counter hit, the CPU is actually doing their standing kick every time. And actually, yeah, see, so if you do a base, so it's probably counts for high kicks too. It's definitely not based on damage. It's just based on like the attack, kind of the attack class that you're doing. But anyway, so let's change characters. So Gene's standing kick is not a normal standing kick. It's let's see if I can make him do it. Okay, so see, every time you get a counter hit in training mode, they're actually just on kick. So if you notice, I get counter hits. See how the flash on the left is red? And you actually get 175% damage on this. If they do a move that's above like the normal, either high punch, high kick, and there's only traditional high kicks that are like high and kind of crappy. So high punch, high kick, low kick, and elbow, I think, are all the normal attacks. If you do anything bigger, you get this red counter, which is 175%. And The launches, I'm pretty sure, don't go any higher. Like if you do like a launcher move like this on counter hit, it's the same as normal counter, but you will get that 175% damage bonus. So that's the little more risk you take if you do like a big launcher over like, let's say, a low punch, but it's not really a big deal. It's just something else to know about. All right, well, before I finish up here, I want to go back over some wake up stuff. So I didn't really talk about the pressure game after someone tech rolls. So most of the time, this is the wrong thing. Or no, yeah, I'm gonna go in here. When people tech roll, usually they're gonna roll to the side, like I was saying before, and especially now that you know how fuzzy guard works, you can exploit the wake up games more. Well, first of all, usually when someone rolls, they have a preferred side they'd roll to, right? So like if I was in this situation, and I had Jean like this, he'd want to roll towards the screen because he wants to get away from the edge. You can kind of counteract their roll by using offensive evade while they're knocked into the air. So if you knock them down or after a juggle or whatever, and you know which side they're going to roll to, you kind of can move that way. And it depends on the positioning, but it can sort of counteract their roll to keep your ring position. But of course, usually you want to just pressure them, right? You want to mix them up. So like I was saying way back, when you do that tech roll, you recover crouching. So if they tech roll and get up, just as they get up, and it's kind of tough to time, just as they get up, you can try to low throw them. Especially if they try to fuzzy, this is very easy to do. But even if they just hold guard, they're forced to crouch for the first few frames of that get up. So they're not forced to crouch, but they have to get up from crouching. So that's throwable, right? So you can go for that low throw, and it forces them to either attack or sidestep or dash to get out of that, or jump, I guess. So this is a really good thing to go for on wake up. Other things you can do on wake up is a good time to go for if your character has like moves that are advantage on block. Typically, they're slower. Let's put on counter hit so I can do like, wait. Let's say guard and counter attack is something stupid. Well, no, it's not. Let's just say, I don't know what I wanted to do. Guard, counter attack, and I'll hit him with something. So she probably has a few advantage on block moves. She has a back 4 kick plus guard, which is pretty good. She's got back and punch, also +4. Those are both +4. She's got P plus K, which is +1. So she's got a lot of moves like this. See if I can like sweep him or something, or I don't know if she has something. What can I knock him down with? I don't know Pi's moves. Yeah, that works. Okay, so this knocks down. So this is a good spot, from a juggle. You'd use your pressure with these kind of moves, and you can even, like, depending on the move, you can time it kind of meaty, and you can get even more plus frames, depending if you time it a little earlier, so it hits earlier in its animation. I don't know if you can do this with Pies, but some of them you can get more plus frames on them. Anyway, this is a good time to pressure with these, because you want to attack anyway, and you don't want to like go for like, well, she can't do KG, but it's a good time for your like anti-fuzzy guard, right? Because low throw is good, but also KG throw is good and stuff like that. And you maybe don't want to get hit out of that stuff, so maybe just go for your advantage on block stuff. So even if they block, they can't interrupt it, and you can just if it hits, you can combo them or whatever, and if it gets blocked, you can just keep attacking. And circular lows are also really good on wake up. Circular lows are actually, I really like these because they're good for getting information, because most of the time they're gonna hit. I mean, yeah, this is disadvantage on normal hit, but it beats so many options, like you can hit this and then go up and do this sweep, and you can, depending on your timing, you can actually see what they do before it hits. So like you can see if they went for a launcher, you can see if they tried to sidestep, you can see if they just tried to guard. You can use this to get information, so it's not a bad idea to just go for this, and if you saw him sidestep, you get a counter hit, and then you also see him sidestep, and maybe next time you knock him down, maybe you dash up and just go for a grab, basic pattern reading. But yeah, on wake up, it's a great time to use those kind of moves that have this long startup. Pi has a good down kick plus guard too. It's +2 on hit. It's linear though, but like I was saying, when you wake up from tech roll, you can't evade for the first couple frames. So this is a great thing to go for, as long as you just have to time it right. you have to get the setup for it. But as long as you have the timing, you know, this is really good. So, you know, learn your juggles and then learn the timing for these kind of moves for setup out on wake up. And that's about it, I think. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to go over. And one last thing I want to talk about is the empty jump mix-ups, which I mentioned earlier. I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory, but they're good to do on wake up too, since the wake up timing, you know, you can do this slow ass jump while they're waking up, and you don't have to, you know, risk being hit out of it. So you get a knockdown, just do up forward, and Kage has a really good wake up game with this. He has empty jump punch, which is full circular and low, so they can't sidestep it, and it's advantage on hit, and you can go for like your kind of forced guessing game if they're not ready to fuzzy after, or crouch dash fuzzy, and go for a grab or whatever. And then he has empty jump kick, which is a mid, and it staggers. And these both have slightly different timings, so you can possibly like guard it, so you guard both of them. But I mean, it's still a good mix-up. And also his the kick, if you notice, it recovers crouching. So even though I think it's like, I don't know what it is on block, it doesn't really matter, but it's not punishable. And so you can fuzzy guard after if it gets blocked, and it causes a stagger on hit. And it's pretty difficult to shake out of really fast stuff like this, like his back PK. So yeah, check out your characters while landing moves and see if they have a good mix-up game. I mean, different characters. Some characters really don't have a good one at all. Some characters, like, usually they'll have one like low move that knocks down, or if the low move doesn't knock down, they'll have one that's like maybe the mid crumple or something. So just check that out. I think Kira actually has a really good it's like just up forward kick. It's like a jump kick that goes over lows that does like a flop thing, and you can combo off it. It's pretty sweet. Anyway, I think that's about it. So have fun.